I'm Dan Panoshin, and you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Bullseye.
Nailed it.
Nailed to the cross. It's okay, it's not a religious holiday tomorrow. Even if it was, I wouldn't care.
Right.
That's how I roll, baby.
Nailed to the cross, it's like Easter 11 o'clock comics intro, I think, more than a Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Well,
That's the big holiday.
Easter's when he comes back, right?
Black Friday? Wait, no, what's it called? Ash Friday?
Ash
Wednesday. Good Friday.
Good Friday.
It's all a bunch of hoo-ha, but whatever.
Hoo-ha.
Yes. This is not, however, the hoo-ha. This is 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 881.
Yeah, boy.
I'm your friend, Vince B.
Hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha.
My friend, Vince B. I am David A. Price. And hark.
Yes, a herald angel sung the praises of one guest. You know, it's very appropriate that this episode precedes Thanksgiving because we are very, very thankful to call this man friend. Whenever he appears on our show and when we see him in person, he just fills us with the love of everything. He's the local man. He's the stray dog. He's the army of darkness forever. He's Tony Fleecs.
Hey, everybody. Happy to be back. Thank you for having me. Thank you for calling me and telling me you want me to come on the show. I'm very excited. It was a text, but I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, and we're glad to have you. And you know what? Skype is conspiring against you. Because, yes, Skype tells me that I haven't chatted with you in over a year, but the first name in my contact list is Tana Ford. I didn't do it. I didn't manipulate it. Skype does not like you.
This is like your top 8, like in MySpace?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Not anywhere near that. You didn't do MySpace?
Oh,
No.
This boomer didn't. No.
It's so cool.
You know who doesn't do MySpace? CheapGraphicNovels.com. Does that even make any sense?
Do you know that for sure?
I don't think so.
I bet Max was on MySpace. He plays ska.
He was.
He's into that stuff.
I love ska.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Too.
CheapGraphicNovels.com. Break it down. CheapGraphicNovels.com. You get what it says. You get your graphic novels, your OGNs, your omnibus editions, your trade paperback collections, your manga, all that stuff at massive discounts. Tony knows the drill. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to place an order, and you're going to reap the rewards of massive discounts. You will receive an email response saying thank you for ordering from cheapgraphicnovels.com. You're going to reply to that email saying, Max, my dude, 11 O'Clock Comics sent me. And he's going to say, buddy, give you a big old bear hug, which equates to free shipping on your next order. It is amazing. Free shipping is very expensive.
And this shipping is no joke, by the way. I feel like I've said before, but the shipping from cheapgraphicnovels.com is maybe the most secure shipping I've ever seen when it comes to getting comic books sent to me.
So nicely.
Yes.
I order stuff from Amazon. It shows up in like a soft envelope. It's ridiculous.
All loose, nothing inside except one airbag, and it's just all flopping around.
Yeah,
I get you.
It's fine. Just the time it gets to my house.
Yep.
Put it this way. My last order from cheapgraphicnovels.com, there was an egg in it.
Mm-hmm.
An egg.
Uncracked.
Well, of course it was uncracked. Hence my yes. So go to cheapgraphicnovels.com and save. How about that?
Nicely done, Vince.
Yes. I'm drinking tonight because Tony's coming, and I figured I better man up. I'd say man up. I better person up because I had I had a little bit before. Yeah, but I'm continuing the old Fezziwig, rich and spiced, Samuel Adams. Love it. I don't have any of the Sweetwater. I'm going to change that. Over the weekend, I'm going to get massive quantities of Sweetwater because I miss it, the 420.
Where's Fezziwig from? Is it from a book? Is it from the A Christmas Carol?
Must be.
Sounds familiar to me.
Well, this is a seasonal beer, So I would guess Fezziwig has something to do with the holidays. Now you're making me look dumb. I don't know.
Jason was here. That's somebody that reads novels, boy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
What?
I don't have that kind of recall like Jason. If you give me time to think about something, I will return an answer, and more often than not, maybe I'll be right. But Jason's like, boom, page 57, Moby Dick. There's a scene in which a crustacean attaches itself to Ahab's balls. And I was like, how do you know that? Like, wow, how can you
I was right. Fezziwig is from A Christmas Carol. He's like the good Ebenezer Scrooge. People are like, Scrooge, how come you're not more like Fezziwig? He treats his
right.
Good. He takes the day off.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Tony.
Jason, we're both literate in the same way, I think.
You're Google literate.
But I said before I Googled that I thought it was from A Christmas Carol.
You did, but that's only 30%.
That's true. That was just the lead that I needed to get me where I was going.
Right. Tony, are you drinking?
Well, sort of. I'm just having a Rockstar Energy drink. I'm going to be writing Army of Darkness when we finish up here again, so I have to not slide into a slumber, which is what I would do if I was to just relax and have drinks.
Me too. It makes me tired.
Yeah. I try to watch TV, and even if I sit down and if I'm not working for a single second, my body just tries to reclaim its time. So I've been trying to watch that Scott Pilgrim, and I cannot. I just fall asleep. And same, I was trying to watch the Monarch show, the Matt Fraction show, and I fell asleep with that too.
You do work a lot.
I do work a lot. Yeah. Do you guys hear my dog just honking away? He's licking his...
It's okay. To the benefit of us all.
This today. It's his holiday as well.
Nice. Dap.
Yes, Vince.
Well, it is your turn.
I am drinking, nothing fancy, just a gin and tonic. I was going to, I didn't have time. I wanted to bust open one of the Bartesian holiday cocktails, but I'll save that for next week.
Do they send them to you in the mail, or do you just buy them at the store, the Bartesian drinks?
I have a subscription with them, so every few months or whenever I say to send now, that they'll send me whatever capsules I have in the subscription. Otherwise, I know Amazon sells them. I haven't seen them in the store, and I haven't physically seen them in any of the stores here. I mean, they could sell them because there's no alcohol in the capsules. But no, they get sent home. And once a year, or I mean, a couple times a year, they'll do something for their members. But last year, I think it was last year is when they started it. Or at least last year was the first year I got it. But they have they allow members to pre-order the Advent calendar, so that when the calendar is available to the public, you've already paid for it. They send you a code, and then you redeem the code, and then they'll send it to you, so the members get first dibs. But they're all they're kind of similar to the capsules that they tend to make for regular cocktails throughout the year. They'll festive them up a little bit, maybe add something else or color it a little differently so that it's a bit more festive. Yeah, there's definitely. Yeah, I mean they'll do things like that. There's like a mistletoe margarita, which is kind of similar to the Candyman margarita they did for Halloween last year. But no, it's all very not, because I'm not a huge. There are certain spirits that I'm not a fan of, so like I can't say that all the capsules are bangers for me, but everything that I've tried, I've enjoyed.
Is there a Bartesian channel on the Slack in the same way that there's like a Peloton?
No,
it's not. No.
I wish
there's a drink. There's a drink and alcohol.
Yeah,
and
that's good enough.
Channel, but yeah.
I'm making some nutmeg right now.
There you are.
No.
Oh, I see.
So, we gather here each and every week to talk about the comics. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Do you want me to go first?
I always do.
I have nothing but feel-good books this week. Books that just, infuse the reader with the light of existence. First one, I have is by Junji Ito. See where I'm going with this?
Uplifting.
It is called Mimi's Tales of Terror. The original stories were written by Hirokatsu Kihara and Ichiro Nakayama from a book, I believe, called Shin Mimibukuro, which translates to New Earmuffs. I don't know how New Earmuffs relate to what I read in this book, but weirdness ensues, right? Of course, it's published by Viz, and like I said, words and pictures by the glorious, extremely talented Junji Ito. This is an odd book, even by Ito standards. It's very strange. It's an anthology centered around a young lady named Mimi, hence the title. And she's a weirdness magnet. She's a strange, strange girl. And that is the reason why I say this book is odd by Ito standards. It contains pretty much commonplace stuff as far as Junji Ito goes. It's very odd. The denizens of the afterlife seem to hate the living. I mean, that's commonplace, right? If you've ever read any Junji Ito, you know that the dead have it out for the living. They just seem to exist to plague the lives of the living. And that's standard stuff, right? But the stories in this book, they're not complete. As in, not in the sense of having a beginning, a middle, and an end. They do have that. But some of them it starts off with one that's just a sketch. It's called On the Utility Pole. And it's Mimi in a car with her I'm guessing boyfriend. She doesn't treat him like one, but he does love her. So I'll call him a boyfriend. But I'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But his name's Netho. And they're in a car, and it's raining, and it's gloomy, and Mimi looks up and she sees something on top of a telephone pole. And it's a witch-like character. Long hair blowing in the wind. The rain is whipping at her. And then it goes away. And that's the end of the story. It's like 3 pages long. It's just a flourish. Like, there's really not a lot of meat on those bones. Was it scary? Was it disturbing? I guess. But I mean, there's not much, right? And there's a number of stories like that are just they're built around a scene, right, Tony? You know how to do it. There's a riveting, hair-raising scene, and it seems that Kihara and Nakayama just constructed the framework of what they considered a story around this event that's terrible. And that's pretty much the modus operandi of Junji Ito too, right? There's a chewy center that's extremely harrowing, and then all of the stuff that spirals around it. It's the recipe. But there's rarely a conclusion to any of these stories. You don't get a why, you don't get a how, you don't get a who. It's just the second story. Mimi moves into an apartment, and the tenant above her plays music extremely loud, and she can't study. So she goes up and she tells him, hey, lower the music, and he eventually does, but it draws focus to his neighbor, because his excuse was, my neighbors never complain. They're weird, but they never complain about the music. And the neighbors turn out to be these women, in quotes, that are all dressed in black. They have a black scarf with a black hat and a long black dress that obscures every ounce of flesh. They wear glasses over the scarf that's pulled up over their nose. Like, you can't get a bead on what is underneath these clothes. And the odd thing about it is the woman is impossibly tall. And it turns out, as the story proceeds, Mimi happens to touch the woman's arm, and her sleeve pulls back, and her arms are metal planks. They're just like flat metal planks with screws in them. And Mimi's like, what? And so she moves into the tenant that was playing the loud music eventually moves out because he got wigged out by his neighbor. And Mimi moves into his apartment, and he chopped a hole in the wall to peer through to see his neighbor. And Mimi notices the woman operating, I guess, on herself by removing the screws in her arm. And she extends it and notices Mimi looking at her and thrusts her arm through the hole. So it's a giant metal. You remember those rulers a long time ago? I'm older than most of you, so you guys probably won't remember these. They were stacked, and you had to pull out, you had to revolve the top part, then bend it back, then revolve it again, and it eventually turned into a giant, like a yardstick. But then you can collapse it down because it was hinged, right? Yeah. That's what this reminded me of. This giant hinged metal thing with a glove on the end of it comes flying through the room, and she tries to attack Mimi, and then Mimi gets away from it, so she stops and moves a bookcase over the hole, but the woman jumps outside and extends her body up to the second floor to peer into Mimi's window to try and get at her. It's crazy. And then the woman at the end just walks away. Like, Mimi passes out, and the woman walks away, and the story's over. So there's really no resolution. There's no who, why, how. Like, nothing is explained. Like, there's, again, the next story is called Rustling in the Grass, where Mimi and Netho come upon, they're walking in the forest. And this is like where the book gets really interesting for me, because Netho tells Mimi that he loves her. And she's just like, yeah, you know. I can count on the fingers of one hand how many panels depict Mimi smiling in this book. And I'd have digits left over to pick my nose. Like, the girl just does not smile. Again, that's very much in line with Ito's feminine protagonists, right? They're joyless. There's no light in their lives at all. And so they're in the forest, and they come upon a young lady who has committed suicide. She hung herself. And stuff starts to drip from her body. And that's the end of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the thing, and as I'm reading this thing, I'm thinking, man, there's no cap on these stories. There's no feel good moment. There's no resolution. There's no insight into what's going on. Why? Why is this like this? And when I finished, I'm like, son of a bitch. The stories mimic or are modeled after the protagonist. We know absolutely nothing about Mimi. We don't know why she's a magnet for all this shit. We don't know any of her likes or dislikes. She doesn't really have an opinion on very many things. Like, she just seems to be a placeholder for a human being. She encounters all this weirdness, and then she just picks up and moves to another place, and the weirdness begins again. And she picks up and moves to another place with more weirdness. Like, if you saw some of the things that Mimi has seen, there's a story. It's on the beach. What the hell's the name of it here? It's called Seashore, dummy, where Mimi and her friends go to the beach, and they get there late, and so they sleep in the car, and they're waiting, for the sun to come up so they can go frolic in the waves. I doubt Mimi can frolic, but whatever. And she wakes up and this thing walks by the car, comes out of the ocean, up onto the beach, and walks by the car, and its guts are hanging out. It looks like you've ever seen drowning victims that have been in the water for a really, really long time, where the skin is just all like buttery, melted off their bones, and it just sloshes all over. That's what this looks like. There's very little definition to the musculature of this form. Like, you could tell it's a human form, but the skin looks oozy and drippy. There's intestines hanging out, and this thing just walks by the car. And Mimi gets like all shook up, but then she's like, "Oh, yeah, I saw something walk by the car last night." And there's a girl who works at a local restaurant. It's like, "Oh yeah, we see that shit all the time." And Mimi's just like, "Oh, okay." I mean, something actually does happen in this story. One of Mimi's friends, Furasella, he cozies up to the girl that works at the restaurant, but ultimately the souls of dead children that have drowned latch onto him, and he kills himself trying to rescue these dead baby spirits that were consumed by the ocean in a terrible accident. It seems like the ocean, this area of the ocean, draws people in. It's like a magnet. It's like there's some kind of a lure that entices people to kill themselves, to drown themselves. Like I said, feel good book of the year. This one, there's a story called Just the Two of Us that begins with a young mother committing suicide by setting herself on fire. Yep. And her daughter, Kay, who is being watched by Mimi's younger sister, Mimi goes home in this story, is plagued by the ghost of her dead mother, who wipes her child's tears away and leaves soot marks on the kid's face. Because they're all, everybody who comes into contact with this kid's like, "How'd you get so dirty? Like, what's on your face?" And the kid's like, "I don't know, whatever." In the night, the ghost of the mother comes to the child and tries to embrace her and leaves soot marks on the kid. Like, does it get any sadder than that? I don't know. But ultimately, I think this is up there with, I mean, it doesn't highly rival the work that Ito does on his own. But as an adaptation of somebody else's work, I think it's very good. But I see the form and the function here with these stories. Like, the fact that there's no or very little in way of payoff or resolution to these things means that we don't have much insight into the mechanics of the stories. And that is the exact genetic makeup of the title character. We really don't know. After like 200 and some pages, we don't know much about this girl. Like, she's odd. She attracts the paranormal. It doesn't seem to break her spirit, and she just continues on. Like, it's a strange animal, this book. It really is. I loved it, but I'm still trying to crack the code with it. Like, I hope maybe Tony or David will read this someday and maybe, add to what I'm saying about this book. It's an odd duck, even in the Ito au revoir. So, it comes with a dust jacket, but take that bitch off the book because it's a mediocre image. I mean, it's not a bad image, but I don't think it's a very enticing image for the front of a book. The actual book cover itself is a gorgeous thing. The front is red and it has Mimi, and her eyes have no pupils. And her hair is on an arc. There's an arc to her hair. It looks so beautiful. When you turn it over, oh my God, the back of the book is great. There's these skeletal, gnarly hands with talons on them in brownish, in like a sepia. And there's the facial features of the dead in red on gray. Like, it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. So when you buy it, just throw the dust jacket away because you'll be pleased because this thing is magnificently amazing. So, Mimi's Tales of Terror from Viz. It's like, I think it's like $25, I guess. But it's worth every penny. I mean, if there's a story about a bodybuilder who moves in next to Mimi. Like, it's so weird. And he does his bodybuilding thing, like the posing and all that garbage. He's in a Speedo and he poses on his terrace thing so people can see him. But the problem is, the only people that can see him, there's a graveyard behind this apartment complex. So what this guy does, in the middle of the night, he goes out and he turns the gravestones to face his apartment. And anybody that knows even a shred of Japanese customs knows that you don't mess with the dead. Like, there's a reason those gravestones faced in the direction that they were placed. This guy goes in and turns them, and he's found out, and the city pays to bring workers in to turn them all back the way they were. Like, I'm guessing that's a good expense, right? But then he does it again because he wants all the eyes of the dead on him as he's doing his bodybuilding. And the place is littered with hitodama. They're like will-o'-the-wisps, but they're souls of the dead that are kind of like fireflies in a graveyard, but they're the souls of the people that have passed. And these things are, serpentine floating around in this graveyard, and he's doing his bodybuilding poses. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And then at the end, the city pays again to come out and turn the gravestones back the way they were. It just shows you, the customs in Japan about honoring those that have passed. But anyway, it's just still a weird story. This whole book is weird. I recommend it. I do. I love it so much, but I mean, if you are one of those types of a discerning reader who needs to know the whys and the wherefores, this book is not for you because there's almost none.
I like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. I'm sure in the Shin Mimibukuro book that things are explained more, and Ito just kind of picked and chose what he wanted to do and left maybe some of the meat still on the carcass. I don't know. But, yeah, go get it.
I would leave on the dust jacket, though, myself. I'm a dust jacket boy.
They're useless, Tony.
Something you don't know about me. I love a dust jacket.
What? Okay, all right, devil's advocate. What function does a dust jacket
I like
provide?
Just the same way that on like a Blu-ray, I like a flippable cover. I like that there's two different opportunities to have artwork. Now listen, if it's a dust jacket and has the same image on the front on both, that's a little silly for me. Mm-hmm. That's like those cardboard sleeves on Blu-rays and DVDs. I don't need that.
No.
I'm at a loss for the whole. I mean, I'm getting back into the Blu-ray thing. Number one, I don't understand flippable covers. I mean, so what do? Do you watch the movie and you flip the cover and put it on your shelf, and then maybe 6 months later you flip it back? You can't see it anyway. Don't think you can?
No, it's because some people like to have like a brand new painted like Criterion style cover, and some people want the original movie poster.
Oh, I'm all for employing artists to produce new work. That's a given. Go nuts if you want to do that, but you can do that for a booklet inside.
Interesting, yeah,
right?
That's true.
And again, I'm with you on the slipcases. Unless they're like lenticular or something different, or like, there's maybe a heat sensitive area. That's cool. But just the same thing as the cover, that's weird.
But yeah, like before it seemed like that was something to keep them safer while they were at the Best Buy or whatever, but they don't do that anymore.
No, Best Buy jettisoned all physical media.
Yeah, it sucks.
Sad.
Big weekend for physical media, though. You got all your Black Friday sales. You got your Severin sale,
Dude,
your Arrow Video sale.
I crunched the numbers.
Yeah.
The Severin sale alone is going to cost me over $2.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So then you got Arrow, and then you got
Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to pick and choose.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I've had my eye on a couple of those discs anyway. Oh, I want to get Freeway and Freeway 2 from Vinegar Syndrome. So if they're on sale, I'm grabbing those up for sure. I don't think I'm going to spend as much this year because I don't have as much money this year. So
there's a trio of Suave films from.
I saw the new announcement.
You need those.
Do I?
The Church? Oh my God! The Church is a masterpiece. Cool. Yeah.
All right, I'll get those two. Fuck it.
Dude, they're like 3-4 discs a piece. You get the UHD, you get the Blu-ray, you get a soundtrack. The
interviews I can never watch because I like to watch documentaries while I draw, and then those are always in Italian, so I can't draw and watch documentaries at the same time.
It's true.
Sucks.
It does suck.
Dap, what do you got?
So, I wish I knew somebody told me about this book, but I binged the 2 trades and issue number 9 of Dark Ride.
Hilarious.
Right?
You wish. Somebody did tell you about that book.
At least across 3 episodes.
2 somebodies. Jason also mentioned it.
I know.
I think I got a box of Dark Ride in the mail today. I'm going to go look.
But I decided to give it a shot for S&Gs, and I couldn't stop. I consumed the first volume, which is just 4 issues, extremely quickly, and then the second volume also includes the little short story from Skybound 10, and then the 9th issue is what we're up to. And I know that in previews that came out this week, I guess issue 12 is solicited, and I haven't opened previews yet, but I think 12th issue, which is apparently the final issue. And I know once I got into the second volume, I had a feeling unless someone was going to take over the park or someone was going to we were going to be introduced to other new characters, or if another park was a possessed park was going to appear somewhere else on the planet, I could see maybe the series continuing. But as far as what this family is dealing with, just based on what I've read, the story definitely seemed finite for these particular. For Sam and his sister and their dad, I didn't see this particular story going on for years and years. I'd love it to, because it's extremely entertaining as somebody who is not big on horror, and this is more Nightmare on Elm Street than it is anything else, than it is Saw or Nun. It's I enjoyed it because it is a bit over the top, and I can and that's the kind of horror I can kind of take. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautifully drawn series, but written by Josh Williamson, illustrated by Andrei Bressan, colors by Adriano Lucas. But I don't want to regurgitate everything the guys have already said, but just seeing it all play out and how things that where we started and where we are now, and the whole mystery aspect with dude's first day. And that was the other thing I thought after the first issue where this kid gets hired and he's working the park. And he only lasted issue. I wasn't sure if we were going to kind of get that sort of gimmick where we're going to be introduced to a character that's just the park's going to end up swallowing, and then how the mysteries will play out there. But no, it's a little bit more straightforward than that to a degree. But big reveal with the 9th issue, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody. But I had a blast with it, man. I really, I don't, I'm glad there was enough available that I could just spend a little bit of time with and read these 9 chapters, or 9 plus a few pages. But at the same time, I'm also a bit bummed that I wasn't reading it along with you guys. So I could have joined in on the conversation.
That would have been fun, but I mean, again, it is a horror book, so it's a horror book that is very specific. It's a horror host, carnival, spook show angle book. That, I mean, if a horror book is hard enough to sell to you, but then when you get very specific like this, it's even more difficult, right? But I call bullshit on them. No, Williamson spent 4 issues on the summer and the death of her brother and setting up the park. You don't spend 4 issues of a 12-issue series.
No. Okay, no.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying the 12th issue. I thought that I wasn't reading this going, oh, this is definitely a 12-issue series. I'm just saying that I didn't see this getting to issue 60.
Oh, I thought there was much more left. Like I doubt that he's going to explain like the mascots. How do you explain the mascots?
Right, no, and right. So yeah, we are going to lose that. But again, I don't think. Well, maybe, but because there's still a couple issues left. But I know what you're saying. But there are parts where I feel like it would have. It's like those filler episodes when we're watching something. It's like that was just there to pad it out. And I don't think. This is too smart, and it's too well done to have any like filler issues. And if it was going to just keep going for the sake of, there are obviously some stories you can still tell, no doubt. I'm bummed that we're getting only 12. I wouldn't mind another 2 dozen, 3 dozen issues, but
right.
But I don't. This wasn't going to be Williamson Savage Dragon. This was It was. I saw this. I saw this particular story, even with the demons, even with figuring out who the hell's doing all this speaking from beyond. I thought that this was just there's a beginning, middle, and end for this particular series.
Yeah, I was amazed at issue 9.
Yeah.
When I thought, oh, geez, no, not a crazy secret admirer. I hate those kind of stories. I think they're just hackneyed and
secret
dumb.
Admirer at that,
but that did not last long.
No, I was, which I was just like, wait, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I'm glad it was all done in one. Like, if we just saw the back of his head for like the past couple of issues, and then this was the big reveal, only for him to be kind of like squashed with a screwdriver after a couple of pages, that would have been a bit of a bummer. But I mean, the fact that his whole arc just happened in a matter of pages in this one issue.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah, it was fine with me. And I really, I have to, I got to give credit to Williamson, because I really, just judging from the first issue, his first appearance, as soon as he starts talking, I thought Sam Hain was going to be, I was just going to roll my eyes every time he showed up. But my man, I'm fucking rooting for the dude. And I probably shouldn't be, but I'm like, he just wants to make this park work. And yeah, he's a prick, and he's arrogant, and he's got an issue with his sister, of course, but with that whole sibling rivalry thing. But with his daughter and the way Dad, of course, treats them both. But I mean,
well, Dad's an asshole.
Absolutely, 100%, a murdering asshole. But I mean, you have but the fact that I've turned the corner, I've come around on Sam, because that doesn't happen often. Once I have a feeling, an inkling about a character, it's very hard for me to change my mind on, no matter what they do, no matter how. Look at these. He just had a whole 18-issue arc where he, redeemed himself. I'm not still a dick, but I like. I'm I'm riding with Sam. I got to see where this goes with him. I feel bad for him. I mean, Halloween is a trip, but obviously there's definitely something going on there. As we saw in the second trade, she's obviously working with her own demons. But there's just and when they fucking put the goddamn. When they put the mask, the helmet with the teeth inside, and they put it on the YouTuber, and I had to like go outside for a little bit when that happened. That freaked me out. Of everything that happened in the book so far in the series, that freaked me out above everything else. Those little teeth inside that goddamn mask.
Yeah. Well, you didn't read Birthright. And
I didn't.
Right. Williamson has a way of wrangling juice from dry fruit, I guess.
Is Birthright still going on, or is it?
No. But it went to issue 50, I think, like or more, like with the stuff that was in Skybound 10 or X or whatever. But there were moments in that book where I thought, like, how much more can they get out of this? And then it adds another wrinkle that adds novelty to the environment, and it propels it for another 6-12 issues. And I don't know. I would love to get him on and just see what the plan was for Dark Ride, because I'm guessing that it wasn't initially conceived as 12 issues. I'm betting that it's not selling all that great. And they're just trying to like tie up all those threads and just let's publish 3 trade paperbacks or one real nice big hardcover and, try to get some money back from it. But I hope this team sticks together because I really love what they do. I would love for them to go back to fantasy. Horror was great. They're very adept at it, but the fantasy I think that's what
Birthright is.
Yeah. Well, fantasy mixed with contemporary settings, like it bounces around, and I just think it's wonderful. They're both books are wonderful, and I have Brian N to thank.
It was a 12-issue series when I got hired for it because I did covers. I did
you did. I saw you
incentive covers for the whole thing.
See, there you go, inside track.
So yeah, I don't know if they plan to keep it going after that and like stop doing the incentive covers or like hire somebody else or rehire me. But like since number 1, I was hired on for 12 issues. So
I saw one of your recent covers in the last previews, and I'm like, I need to get this.
Well, I worked as like an art director on that thing where I would hire my cartoony friends from like Pony Books and other cartoon books to do like Disney covers. And the last one that came out was Andy Price from Ponies did a Cinderella cover. And then I finally, after like art directing him for all this time, I was like, well, I want to draw one too. So I did the Aladdin one that'll be on, I think, issue 11.
That's
or 10.
the one. Yeah, that's the one.
So that one I drew and did everything on.
It's a very nice cover.
Well, thank you.
Did you have a ghost artist on that, or?
I mean, somebody did all the layout for me, 30 years ago. So that was easy enough.
Yeah, homage covers are great.
Well, they definitely they're speedier than coming up with them yourself. I'll tell you that.
That's right. Well, that's what John Byrne said. They're like, John, why are you doing a pastiche of Fantastic Four #1? He's like, because it's easy. Yeah.
Well, just like always, I agree with John Byrne.
True. Well, don't agree with him on everything.
Yeah, let's tamp that down a little bit.
The man's always right.
Okay. Fleece Robotics, man, in the house. Making butter. It's Tony. Tell us what's lighting a fire under the fleece.
I read a few books this week. I've been working more than I've been reading, but I did read The Deviant, A Christmas Story by James Tynion IV and Joshua Hixon, with letters by Hassan Otsman Elhau. It's fucking good, man. I I haven't read everything James Tynion, but there's definitely sort of like, you can tell the books that have come out since he's been like, like he was like a young writer. He was doing creator-owned stuff. Then he sort of had big hits with Batman, and then he had big hits with creator-owned stuff. And this is sort of like the post-big hits with creator-owned stuff era. And what I like about that is he's just able to sort of stretch something out and tell a story, almost like manga, where it doesn't have to be 20 or 22 pages, and you can sort of like really settle in for atmosphere. This is a story about there's a serial killer who the person that got arrested and put in jail for it is this guy who was a mall Santa Claus. And he's sort of like this legend, that the kids tell each other about this mall Santa Claus that killed these kids, and sort of like he did like he molested them, and sort of like it's like this dark, creepy thing. But it's the sort of thing that if you're a kid, you would talk about. What's interesting about this book is that it's told from the perspective of a writer who's interviewing the killer in jail. And the writer's gay and the killer's gay, and the writer sort of explains that to the killer while they're talking about this thing, because he's going to write a story about it. I think he's going to write a comic about it, which I'm a little bit like, that seems way close if you're doing, like you're writing a story about a comic writer. But it's great, so I'm willing to stick around and see, where he goes with it. But the writer says to the killer, like, that was the first time that I had any concept of a boy being with another boy, was that when I heard about you like molesting and killing these kids, which is super dark, but also like a super interesting take on like a serial killer story, or like you're always looking for like a perspective to enter these stories, because we've seen, serial killer stories. We get to the end of the thing and it turns out that the guy's been saying this whole time that he's not the killer, and then there's a killer that's still out there. So is he the killer? Is he not the killer? Is this a copycat? But it's really beautifully done, and it's huge. I think it's a $5.99 comic, because it is heavy as if it were two comics put together. But yeah, it's just really nicely done. Moody, atmospheric. I love a Christmas horror story. But like Black Christmas is sort of a straight up and down Christmas horror story where it's like actually scary and it's at Christmas. That's perfect for me, and that's more what this is, more than like your Christmas Bloody Christmas or these other ones where it gets a little more camp. This one plays a little more straight, which is what I like. I like Christmas. I like horror. This is great.
Okay, Black Christmas, directed by...
oh, shit. I know. Oh, the guy that did Christmas Story, right?
Who also did?
I don't know.
Children shouldn't play with dead things. Bob Clark. Yes, Bob Clark.
So Christmas Story is more the outlier for that guy than...
Oh, yeah.
Black Christmas.
Do you think Hixon's work here is inspired by Phillips?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
not only the daddy Phillips, but the son as well. I mean, the coloring looks very similar.
I think a few years from now, Jacob Phillips coloring is gonna, like, I think a ton of things are gonna look like that, because it works, like it's atmospheric, and also it's faster than doing like full flats, cuts and grads style coloring like we've been doing for years and years. I can definitely see the appeal in it. I told Brad, who colors Local Man, I was like, you don't have to get this thing fully flatted. You can just do a criminal on that if you want.
It's a procedure now.
he's still doing the full thing, but I like the way it looks. I think everybody's influenced by the Phillipses these days, especially if you're doing a story like that.
They are extremely good at what they do.
Yeah. New Phillips coming soon, right before Christmas.
Yeah. Where the body was?
Yeah. Did you read that already? I think there's a PDF.
I started it, but I think I'm going to wait until I have the book in my hands.
Yeah, I forgot to order it. I'm going to have to buy that off the rack.
Well, I bet you'll be able to find it.
I'm very confident, yes, that I will be able to find it.
I try not to pocket watch, but every time, 2-3 times a year, those guys put out a crazy successful hardcover. I'm just like, good Lord, what's going on?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm extremely happy to watch in real time the Brubaker Phillips section of my library grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
It's one of the most comfortable spots of my reading room. I can always go back to it and pick up a book, and just revel in just the amazing stuff these guys produce. It's a blessing, really.
It has a place of honor inside my house. Like, I have my bookshelf out in my studio, and then there's a few special sections that exist in the house. The Kirby shelf, the Brubaker and Phillips shelf, and there's like an original image shelf, and there's a cliffhanger era shelf as well. Oh, and David Lapham shelf.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, that's a little peek inside my world.
I'm surprised there's not an extreme section.
That exists inside the original image section. But there's not that many trade paperbacks. I think I have like the Glory trade paperback, and I've got the Youngblood ones. But
So you read Dutch, number 0?
oh yeah, I was going to talk about that. Did you talk about it already?
I briefly touched upon it. It was in my In Your Travels last episode, so I'll save it for if you want to talk about it next. But
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, I read that too. I forgot about this.
nice.
We can get into it.
Okay. I talked about this book, the first issue, when it came out, and a little bit of behind the scenes on this. It's from Uncivilized Books. And after I read the first issue, went on their website, and I subscribed direct from the publisher. It wasn't extremely expensive, but I thought, I want to give these guys every penny. No cut for the Diamond or the Lunar or whatever. No cut for the comic. I just want to give them all my money because I think this series is exemplary. It's amazing. There's very little, if anything, like this book out on the stands right now. So talked about the first issue way back when. I should have got the number for you, but I didn't. I think it was when Ryan Stegman was on. I talked about it. But it's called The Sickness from Uncivilized Books, of which this is the second issue.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Art's by Jenna Cha. Story and script is by Jenna Cha and Lonnie Nadler. And the letters are by Hassan Atzman El-How again. It's a Jordi Belair of lettering. Seems to get a lot of work.
He does, yeah. Yep.
But, it picks up right after the events of the first issue. If you want to hear the backstory, go listen to the Stegman episode. Or the narrative ping-pongs from 1945 and 1955. In 45, we just dropped the bomb on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the cover is amazing because it shows a theater marquee. Shirley Temple plays into the narrative. Curly Top, the 10th anniversary of Curly Top, is being shown in this local theater. And so you see the theater marquee and teens eating ice cream, walking by, and in the background there's a mushroom cloud. It's a really effective cover that kind of typifies really what the book is about. It's about the unpleasantness lurking behind the facade of the waking world. It's really, really well done. But it like I said, it bounces back between 45 and 55. In 45, remember I talked about Daniel, the young man who's prone to these horrific hallucinations, like can't pinpoint when or how they're going to happen, but he seems to be racked by these terrible, terrible visions where reality just starts to melt and drip and ooze, and he sees his food, like his mother served, a special meal, and they're sitting there at the dinner table, and his mother and stepfather are there, and they're going on, and his food starts to turn into creatures, and with they're eating meatballs, and there's these tendrils and spiny bits emerging from the meatballs, and crystalline structures coming out of this egg thing that his mother made. It's horrific, but the point is, the mother's like, come on, eat. Start eating. I made this, you can eat it. Like, it was a time, 1945, where you didn't leave anything on the plate. The Great Depression, the effects of the Great Depression are still lingering at this point, and so, like, nothing is wasted. And this kid is just gagging himself trying to eat this stuff, and then his mother's neck extends, and her head is too heavy for this very pliable neck, and her head just plops into the dish, and she's talking to him, and her head's in the dish, and then Dad's head snaps back and falls off his body, and this poor kid, he just has these really monstrous hallucinations, and because of that, he doesn't have many friends, right? He's got one really good friend named Olson, and the two of them, they're just looking Olson more than Daniel. They're just looking for pussy. That's it. And that it motivates their young lives. I mean, as it did with many of us, right? This is not uncommon. But the problem is that Daniel has a reputation of being a freak, a weirdo. No one knows when he's going to wig out, so no one wants to be in his company except for Olson. And they go to the theater, and Olson's trying to mac on this girl, and everybody in the theater just turns into these horrific, dripping, undulating, oozing creatures, and the screen erupts with this skull-faced woman. I really can't do it justice. You have to see it. That's the one thing about Cha's work. She manages to capture not only explicit horror, but the hidden, implicit stuff that's hard to come by, that you really can't delineate with a line. She conjures that up magically with the way, with the approach. I mean, it's just really unsettling, and it's supposed to be. But a lot of it's the 45 scenario is showcases racism masquerading as nationalism, because after they drop the bomb, these teens are like, yeah, we really showed them Japs. I'm just reiterating what's in the book. And so it's just like, yeah, who are we going to drop it on next? Like, America's got the bomb, that kind of mindset. But it's mirrored in the 55 narrative, because in 55, we saw in the first issue, it was a horrific, horrible massacre. This Goodson woman just went on a killing spree, and George, who is black, is not buying his superior's assessment of the massacre. He thinks it might have been a bunch of stuff. He's thinking maybe rabies or typhoid or rheumatic fever or even syphilis, but he's leaning towards schizophrenia, and so he spends a good deal of time researching the condition and the current treatment, which includes the process of lobotomy. It was accepted as a form of treatment during this time. So we get a detailed account of somebody with schizophrenia, and it kind of mirrors Daniel's events, but he goes to his superior, Dr. Sewell, and he's like, I'm just not. I don't think that it's just hysteria. I don't think that's what this woman had to make her do what she did. And Dr. Sewell, he's a real peach. He's white, and he blatantly implies that George is manipulating the fact that, quote, his people are getting all riled up currently. And he's using that fact as a lever to kind of lift his agenda. It's a very harrowing scene, and it's not going to sit well with you, but it was designed not to sit well with you. You know what I mean? I think we're supposed to walk away from this thinking, man, this guy's a racist prick, and he's trying to keep George, under his thumb. But that's basically it, and it's a $6 book, but it's worth every damn penny. And yes, Shirley Temple does factor into it by the end of the book. I recommend this book wholeheartedly to anyone. It's going to factor in on my Oscars for horror. There's no way it can't. I like I said, I don't think there's anything on the stands right now that is doing what this book is doing. The lows are very, very deep, and there's not a whole lot of highs, but there's neat manipulation of dialogue balloons. Sometimes they're behind. We're looking in on Daniel and his family eating from outside, and the dialogue balloons are semi-obscured by the window pane. Like, that's great. That's wonderful. It's such an easy thing to do, but a lot of people don't even think of doing it because it's one of those things. Well, if I could have come up with that, I'd be rich. Why didn't it seem so easy? This is one of those things. It's so simple, but not a lot of people take that chance. And there are other manipulations of dialogue balloons and sound effects and stuff, but it's a black and white book, excruciatingly detailed, very, very fine line work. It is. I don't want to say Stephen King because, of course, that's what one would go to in stuff like this. But the presence of the master walks through these panels. Let's just say that. But I think it's great. It is phenomenal. What's that?
Say the name again.
The Sickness.
Okay.
From Uncivilized Books.
Yeah.
I guess the first issue went through multiple printings, and the first printing goes for a decent amount of money because I'm guessing the first printing wasn't all that high to begin with. But I don't really care. Get a first printing, get a third printing. Who cares? Just get it and read it. Just go to Uncivilized Books and subscribe. There was a little bit of a snafu with getting, they switched to some new kind of fulfillment service, and they were late getting the books to their distribution center, which translated to the people that subscribed getting the books late. But you know what? I really don't care. This is one of those books that is so worth waiting for. I don't care if it took another month, because I know that when it came out, it would be extremely fulfilling, as it was. So, The Sickness, Uncivilized Books. It is phenomenal. Yep.
Nice.
I don't think David would like it. It's okay, though. It's okay.
I like it when my friends like things.
Yeah, we don't all have to read the same stuff.
Right, no, it's extremely well done. I checked it out on the site when you talked about the first issue, but yeah, it's not my cup.
Your heart is too big.
Yeah, I guess. But it's.
I mean, the dog gets killed in the first issue.
I know.
So.
Monsters.
Stay away.
But, listen, I read the second issue of Transformers, and, Optimus is going around killing wildlife, so,
He didn't mean it.
I know he didn't.
He's Optimus.
I keep forgetting that came out. I forgot to get the second Transformers and the...
G.I. Joe 301?
Forgot to get that, and I forgot to get Jason Aaron's Batman today.
Oh, was it Out of This World or something like that? Off-World?
Yeah, I read it.
How was it?
It looks good. I think it looks phenomenal. Yeah, it looks great. It looks great, but
Okay.
It's just another Batman story.
Right. But he's in space. He's off planet. He's
I know.
Science fiction.
I know. But
It's
Monkey,
never been done before.
Monkey's so great that, and so is Jason Aaron. But I'm just not in the right mindset for Batman.
Or Batman.
No,
You're gonna come back around on this one someday.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. Did you guys read Wonder Woman today?
I did actually.
Tom King?
Dude.
Yeah, man.
I liked the second issue. I think a little bit more than the first, but I really, really liked the third issue.
Yeah, who's this guy? The King of Lies, the Prince of Lies?
Oh yeah, this freaking this guy who speaks in the we and this old General Immortus looking motherfucker.
Yeah, Harlan Crow. Yeah, I like this guy. I like the whole story. It's dark, it's getting dark. It also seems like right on the surface, the politics of it.
Yes.
Also,
yeah, because
it's so interesting for a Wonder Woman story to just be like, this is what a certain subsect of the reviewers are just saying about it, no matter what, if they read it or not. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And just a bunch of the He-Man Women's Haters Club members going around.
Now, don't disparage the Little Rascals.
But I mean,
look, if you're a Little Rascals fan, Vince, I got good news for you about this issue too.
Sampere, the way he draws Diana is, it's stunning. I mean, he's a fantastic artist. I enjoyed him on when he was working with PKJ on Action, or Superman. But he was solid on that. But he's really shining here, and just the conversations that Diana's having, the fact that Steel just goes like from 0 to 100 in a nanosecond when she's just talking to him.
Yeah.
And he's flipping, I have an army, and he just keeps getting louder and louder. And it's like, dude, and you just obviously know the fact that, and with the old man talking to the soldier, about how, but she embarrassed you, she humiliated you and your boys and your friends. I mean, this is a woman, and she did this to you, all these men, and I'm like, what? He's like, well, she's a superhero. It's like she's the Wonder Woman, man. She saved so many people. It was just we dusted ourselves off. We survived. It's fine. Which is how a normal person would, react to the situation after thinking about it coherently. But everything is just all about this manipulation and just tugging at the strings of the feeble-minded. It's insane, and it's hitting all the right points. And of course, it's someone like Tom who has to write this. And I think right now, it's coming out at kind of the right time, because we're ramping up for the elections for next year. Like if this was happening during a certain administration, it might just be more noise. But I think right now, because of I think it's dropping at the right time. I could be wrong, but it just if I had read this 3 or 4 years ago, I probably wouldn't be reading it, just because I'm trying to avoid this nonsense on a daily basis. But I'm in an okay place right now where I can tolerate it on the page because of how it's presented, and I know who he, being Tom, is pointing fingers at with certain characters here.
Look, enjoy these next
these next few quiet months.
I love the backup story.
Oh, it was so good.
Vince, here's what happens in this backup story. It's the Super Sons, but it happens a few years from now. So John Kent is even a little bit older than he is in his series, I believe. Yeah, a few years from now, it says. But they're all still kids. And then, David, you got to help me out with my DC. Is this little baby Wonder Girl, does she exist, or is she the one that we find out that the Amazon is pregnant with at the end of the story?
That's who I think it might be, because she does seem to she's strong. So yeah, this is the first time I've seen this little girl.
Okay, cool. But it's basically a story where John and Damian are babysitting a little Wonder Girl. So it's called Trinity. And then John goes off to save a dam that's collapsing because he's Superman. And then Damien ends up just getting stuck with the kid. And
babysitting duties.
And he doesn't last a minute before he decides, like, oh, fuck it, we'll just go on an adventure. So he takes her to fight Killer Croc. But she's a little girl. Like, you're talking about
She's like 5 years old.
Yeah. She's a little pigtail girl. And she says fuck. Her name is Lizzie.
She goes by Wonder Robin when she's in costume.
Yeah, she dresses up in a little Robin costume.
What a tutu.
It's the cutest thing you've ever saw in your whole life, this little kid. It's so fun.
What are big eyes?
She fights Killer Croc. And that's fun. And then she takes a nap and she says fuck again. I didn't know that she said fuck. I just know that she cursed.
Yes.
Until at the very end, Damien says shut the fuck up. And the little haptics are the same as what she says. That's not what it's called.
Store it away. This Belén Ortega, I'm completely new to this artist. Really like the art. Some of it reminded me of Matt Wagner in spots, especially with Robin, especially with Damien. It was a really, really fun little backup story, and I definitely want more of it. And I've said before how whether it was oh my God, Peter Tomasi,
yeah,
or even Tom Taylor, but Tomasi had a great handle on young John and Damien back when the Super Sons was coming out, but
they fucked him over for Bendis.
I know, but I'm the one who holds a grudge. So you have Taylor's done a great job with the two characters as well as they've gotten older, but the conversation, the exchange between Damien and John that Tom King writes is just, I mean, it's chef's kiss level. They're a little back and forth here as they're talking about who's actually going to babysit, and I got to go save this dam, and oh my God, you can't call yourself Superman. Other people have to, and it's he's like, you're like the top sixth Robin. I loved everything about this conversation. It's a great backup on top of an already great issue.
Yeah, Robin teaches this little girl, Wonder Girl, how to tie her shoes. It's so cute. It's just very cute. Like, you get to the end of an issue that's pretty, tense. There's a lot of political. There's a lot of, tension and people being dicks to each other. And then there's just, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of just the cutest thing you ever saw. And I think it is going to be ongoing. I think I saw that they're going to be doing more of these. So that's great. Yeah, it's part 1.
Yeah, I'm looking at the backup. It looks really great.
It is.
Yeah.
And I guess a few years from now, everybody's going to know that Batman and Bruce Wayne are the same person, or at least that they're close, because why else would you have a painted portrait of the Trinity hanging up in your den?
In Wayne Manor.
It's just my friends. Yeah, it's just Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman.
Maybe that's like John F. Kennedy. Maybe everybody just has.
Yeah, it's like the Pope or Kennedy, all the time. or like my mother-in-law with Malcolm and Martin. Yeah,
right. Sure. Yeah. Or my favorite is when they find people that have the Obi-Wan Kenobi hanging up.
Yes, instead of Jesus, the young Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, that's fucking great. But now they're going to do that with instead of Obi-Wan, it's going to be Ezra Bridger.
Oh, sure, yeah. I'll take it.
Nice. I like it when my friends read stuff they like.
You should.
They do.
It makes for entertaining radio.
It sure. Well, yeah, we're not radio, but I get it.
Oh my God,
it's not radio.
Our semantics, man.
It's HBO.
I also hate it when they call it a pod. Hey, new pod.
Oh, I know.
Stop.
Yes, that is
a pod.
Well, I mean, again, it's one more syllable. You can't just spit it out. I get it.
Yeah,
a lot of podcasts are not 2.5 hours long. They're trying to do them in like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, and if you go back through the archives, I have never, I doubt I have ever referred to this thing as a podcast, ever.
What do you call it? Just the show?
It is a show.
I say show. Yeah,
it's a show, right? Podcast. Just be whatever.
I say podcast when people say, "What are you doing tonight?" I say, "Going on my friend's podcast."
Because it's easy.
Oh
right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
gets
I'm
the
saying I'm
job done.
recording a podcast. Otherwise, if I just tell people I'm doing a show, it's like, oh really? Going on stage?
Oh, I
So-
never say that. I say we're recording tonight. Never say podcast.
Right.
Yeah. I will not be bound by the method by which this thing is delivered.
Just a little peek inside the old Von Voglia.
Yeah, I got a lot of hang-ups. I do. I don't let them fly, but I got a lot of them. Yeah.
Hey, what's everybody's Thanksgiving plans? What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You hosting or going, Vince?
I am going, and it's probably going to be a shit show.
Yes. What are we on the lookout for?
Well, no, it's the first holiday after my mother-in-law died. So, yeah, it's going to be a riot, Alice.
Oh, rootin' toot.
yeah,
barn
people
burner.
are just going to be dancing on the fucking table. Can't wait.
Your mother-in-law, was she the matriarch? Did she handle Thanksgiving?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good times. But, I mean, I kind of love Thanksgiving because there's no running around involved. I mean, I do some cooking and I help out with the cooking, but you don't have to worry about presents. You don't have to worry about wrapping. You don't have to worry about all the logistics of getting everyone to a certain location. It's just the family just gathers together and we eat. Like and then we look at shit we're going to buy. Like, where's the downturn? There is none.
It is a very present holiday. Like you just go someplace, you sit there, you're with people. You know, it does. For somebody that works constantly, it does feel nice just to sit and be with people and not be.
I mean, you grab a bottle of wine or something if you're going to somebody's house just to be nice, but you don't have to lug all presents. Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful break. But I do think they should have it on a Friday.
That would be nice. Although Black Friday. That seems like an extension.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
it
the whole
sucks.
weekend.
It sucks to have a day off during the week because then you got to go back on Friday.
They make you work on Black
Some
Friday?
people.
Oh shit! Yeah, I got to work.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Whoosh.
Man.
Edit my photos, monkey.
Yeah. I do too, but I'm whipping myself.
But you're self-employed. That's you're king of the hill.
I am king of the hill.
Yep.
This hill.
This hill right here.
It's
What
a
about
good
you?
It's Tony.
Oh, I'm going to my buddy Gary's place in Pasadena. I'm going to bring wine, like you say, but I don't have to. I asked if they want me to prepare anything or bring anything. I don't have to, so I'm just bringing myself. And we're going to go chill and take it easy.
Make Brussels sprouts.
Yes.
Mashed Brussels sprouts. Do that kind where they crush them with that thing,
No,
Oh.
no,
like on TikTok.
no, just quarter them.
Oh, I see.
That's
Well,
just,
I mean-
just cut them in half. But
Or half,
does the pup get to go or no?
I'm wondering about that because they got dogs too. They have actually very old dogs, but we'll have to see. Maybe I can bring Baxter and let him run around out back or
Yeah,
whatever.
because then it's gonna be a few hours. You don't want him to be alone all the time.
We'll crate it up.
Poor little guy. No, we're not. We're it's just gonna be the two of us. I thought about doing the whole lasagna from scratch, but I'm gonna save that for the weekend. I don't feel like busting out some lasagna sheets tomorrow, so I'll just
Make a
one.
ham.
No, I bought a couple of Cornish hens, and so I'll throw those on the roasting sheet along with I'll fuck up some potatoes.
What does that mean?
I'll
Gonna make potatoes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Say me.
I know. Yes. Well, because no,
But he's gonna put some stank on them.
I'm trying to figure out how. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to do some rough cubes with them and then, or if I want to do the smashed potatoes where you get the smaller ones and that's when you smash them down with the bottom of like a shot glass or something and then throw them in the oven or just roast them on the tray with the birds. Probably do stuff, and I got some Brussels sprouts. I'll finish those off. And so at least we'll have some green. But I tried. I didn't get a chance to get to the store to pick up some more sprouts or string beans this evening. But I did swing by Blondery, so I don't have to worry about dessert tomorrow. We'll have the little cake jars that I brought home. And tomorrow morning, though, I have to walk over there, all the way over there, because they actually are. The bakery is open tomorrow for a couple hours, and I put in an order for. I haven't tried her cinnamon rolls yet. So right now they're seasonal because they're instead of cream cheese frosting, she's using apple butter. I don't want that. I want the OG. So she's actually going to just make me 2 with the cream cheese frosting. I'll swing by and pick them up tomorrow. So I'll
you get a little reach around when you go there too.
I try.
Jesus.
But, I love that.
See,
place.
Tony, look what you did. Talk about food. Are you out of your damn mind? Like what?
Right?
Yo, listen, I'm bummed I'm not going to be at my family's Thanksgiving because my sister Jessica is making Cajun butter turkey off TikTok, and it looks ridiculous. It looks so buttery.
Well, just to keep it on topic, while you're here, while Tony's here,
yes,
I don't know if we told you this yet, but we've read the thing that we can't talk about that you sent us.
Very nice.
I think it's better than the series that preceded it.
Really? I like that.
Yes, I don't want to say I think Trish leveled up.
Yeah, for sure. It looks.
Can I not say that? I could take. I'll take it out, but
no, we can talk about it. This is a book the Clockers. We're talking about a book that's going to get announced here in about 3 weeks. So you just have to be in the dark for a little bit longer. But this will be fun. You can have a little bit of mystery.
Yes, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the premise of the first series, but I thought this was a neat spin.
Cool.
Yes, not to let anything unveil anything, but I thought it was wonderfully done. And as usual, I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I can send you the second issue. What do you like? Email? You don't like it when I text it to you, right?
If you text it to me, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it.
So Tony, text it to me. I'll put it up on our Slack for Vince and Jason.
Yeah, when I get something on my phone, it's like getting nothing. Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I mean, do you have a small phone or something?
No, I have a Galaxy.
He's got no way to read it.
I don't want to.
Exactly.
Little tiny screens don't do justice to this stuff. They just don't. Even my widescreen monitor here that I have. Yes, I prefer to read anything digital on this monitor, but it's still, I would much rather hold it in my hand, but I can't do that. So in lieu of not having a physical copy, I will read it on my monitor. As I did the first issue, and I thought it looked phenomenal.
Well, thank you. Yeah, this one, we'll talk about. I'll come back in the middle of December if that's okay with you guys, and we'll really get into it. Jeez. But the first one we did, it's the same exact team as as Stray Dogs, but the first one we did, Tone drew layouts which were pretty tight backgrounds with looser characters, and Trish drew the characters and then inked the backgrounds. And this time, since Tone is working digitally now, we just had him do full backgrounds. So the backgrounds are just lush and gorgeous and crazy.
They
are.
And then Trish is just, again, like you said, she really leveled up. Like, her characters are awesome. And yeah, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited for people to get to see what we're talking about here in a couple weeks.
How many issues?
Ongoing.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I swear.
Right,
wow. So that's what that feels like. Nice.
Well, I mean, same as Dark Ride. Maybe we'll do 12.
Oh!
Well, no. I mean, respect. You don't want to lose money on it, but I mean, yeah. If it's overstated its welcome, then you end it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, though, I don't know if there was a small news brief this week that Army of Darkness is going to go all the way to 12 issues. So that's cool.
Good for you. I'm enjoying that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I planned it for 12, and it was sort of a question mark or whether or not it was going to be feasible, money-wise. And then after the first one came out, they were like, okay, cool, we'll do the full thing. So that's exciting.
Have you heard from Bruce
Campbell? All I know is that he wishes he was getting paid for his likeness rights for these comics, and so he doesn't.
Oh, shit.
I really can't blame him.
I guess so, but that's not my fault. I didn't,
of course not.
Sell his likeness rights to whoever, MGM.
Right.
Yeah.
Get a phone call from Raimi. Hey, Fleece, this is good stuff.
That would be the craziest thing I could imagine. I don't think that's going to happen.
I know, but hey, we could dream, right?
It would be nice. Love a Sam Raimi, and as we've discussed before, love a Evil Dead, the whole series.
Well, I like the fact that you used the mythology and twisted it to your own evil ends, which is very good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm writing issue 7 right now, so we're way ahead.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'd even pay $4.99 for that book.
Wow.
Well, maybe that's part of the them extending the book. I didn't read that press release, but
can't say that about many titles, but yours, yes.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we got big stuff coming. I think that you'll be excited about where it's headed.
Now, when you agree to do a book for a publisher, do you immediately talk about collected editions and format and maybe this will come out in a hardcover, or we're just going to do trade paperbacks, or because I would love to have a 12-issue hardcover of this.
Yeah, me too. I do, but I really have no control over it. Backs are scratching.
Dog's got a scratch.
Yeah, it's something that I always talk about, and I talk about like arcs as trades, and then the final thing I sort of think of it as like as a hardcover. Like we're still supposed to do a Stray Dogs hardcover at some point, but it's the one thing where it's like further away from my control than anything else. Like especially at Image, we have a lot of control over what's in the issues and what the trades look like and all that stuff. But hardcovers and formats and reprints and all that stuff, I think that's all math. And,
right.
We just went to, I thought I got Dark Rides in the mail because I had an image-shaped comp box, but it was Stray Dogs second printing trade paperbacks. So
Image will send you comps?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can choose to get them or not get them, because I pay for them.
Oh, you pay for them?
Well, it just comes out of my,
Right.
I have a spreadsheet with them, and whatever when I go to conventions, I'll have them send me a box of books, and then that just comes off of my total or whatever.
Right. So it's not really comps. It's more like...
Yeah, well, if you think about it that way, I own all the Stray Dogs trade paperbacks, and I had them send me 5 of them to my house so that I could make sure that second printing looked good.
But you paid for them.
Yeah. But I paid for them when they were printed. I already own them.
Oh,
Image is just holding on to them for them.
Did they make you pay postage?
I think so.
That's bullshit. That is bullshit.
That is fucking Image. Come on, Todd. Fucking Kirkman, really?
Seriously.
Jesus.
If you get a book that's
hard out here.
I'm not too worried about my.
No, but that goes. I mean, hey, every penny counts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, especially if they're all about helping the creators.
Seriously.
We'll help you guys out. Just make sure you pay for this.
The postage on that was like $16.50. Can you PayPal me that? Yeah.
Holy
sure.
shit! Imagine if it's fucking COD.
Do you remember COD? That was the dumbest fucking thing. Who came up with that?
I've had a couple of those where they got shipped where they didn't pay enough shipping, and then they show up at my house and they ask me for $16 or something.
Oh yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I think that was I got a Kickstarter like that where
Oh my god.
But then I'm just like, how did this get shipped out? How did this happen? And then I'm just like, is my mail person just scamming me?
Seriously, right?
She sees me. She was like, he went to school in the 90s. He probably doesn't know about COD. Let's just do this. Try it out.
I'm going to try it. Taco Bell's down the street. I meet like a king.
Yeah, just get lunch money every day.
Oh, my goodness. What else did we read? Oh, hey, Tony, what'd you think about Dutch, #0? I know you were waiting for that book.
Yeah, DAP read it too. I dug it. I mean, it's crazy that there's this book and there's Local Man at the same time, where there are two stories about an aging former 90s Image superhero. And I'm obviously very jealous that these people, that Joe Casey and Nathan Fox, just get to use Dutch, rather than, we've had a lot of fun sort of coming up with analogs and sort of amalgams and stuff, but just being able to use the guy. But what's interesting is that they also have had to sort of make an analog for Youngblood because they don't, Liefeld doesn't own Youngblood anymore. And so they have, this is Dutch number 0 by Joe Casey and Nathan Fox with Francesco Segala, I think, on colors.
And it's pretty seamless, right? Because this is a 3-issue or a 3-part story that was published in Image, numbers 5 through 7.
Yeah, the anthology. And then they're going to continue it in a regular series starting in February. But instead of Nathan Fox, it's going to be art by Simon Gain. But yeah, it's a former Image Comics superhero, but this is much more of the classic Western, sort of like an old man Dutch. You know, he's in his Unforgiven. He's fought all his fights, and he wants to go retire to the middle of the desert, and just be peaceful there, and sort of forget all the crazy shit that he's seen. And then somebody comes along and drags him back into it, which is, which always works. It did, yeah. They do drag him back into it.
That's what I said last time.
Dragon going
on. But yeah, this they had to create a fake Youngblood basically, and it's called, what's it called? That
something 7 or Cyber
something Squad 7.
He was Cyber Tech, and yeah, it was how was it? Blood Squad 7.
Blood Squad 7.
Yeah, I'm glad they called it that. But, I mean, everybody knows what they're talking about.
Well, and all the characters are extreme characters that just didn't end up getting sold, where, like it's Exit from New Men, who was owned by Jeff Matsuda and Eric Stevenson, not by Rob Liefeld. And then it's like backup characters from Brigade. Like you've seen all these characters in those first year Image Comics, the same place Dutch came from. Well, I bet Dutch was probably second year. I don't know when Team Youngblood number 1 was. But yeah, this is a cool story, and Nathan Fox, kills it on the artwork. Mm-hmm. I was kind of waiting for, when I got to the end, and the house blew up, I was kind of waiting for, are they going to have the same way that you're playing on nostalgia a little bit with Dutch? Like, I wanted there to be a big villain that you're just like, oh fuck, it's Overkill, or one of these other guys where you immediately see him and just go like, oh shit, it's him, but they're not there yet. I imagine they'll head somewhere close to that direction in the regular series in Dutch number 1.
I really appreciate that. We're playing with real time, where he's been out of the game for 30 years, and it's like kind of that's pretty much. I really do. I mean, it's kind of. It's interesting to like live where you were there when originally it happened, and enough time has passed now where you can kind of nostalgia can come back to it, and it's the same amount of time. It's like, because when I'm younger, I'm thinking, well, no one's going to read this again, or no one's going to remember what happened 30 years ago, and if it's like some random Spidey or Hulk comic, but. I mean, we were here when these characters were introduced, reading these issues off the stand when they were coming out, and now, 30 years later, here's just another little random Dutch story, and it's tugging at all the heartstrings.
What I think's cool about it too is the way that Nathan Fox's art style is definitely modern, and then the way that when you see like Dutch's rabbit ears headset thing, or you see like these giant guns that he punches his fists into like boxing gloves almost. And you just see those sort of like hanging up, and you get that like, oh, we're going to get to see those things in action again. This is going to be a big deal when he straps on those rabbit ears, which is so funny because, I mean, they were rad looking when Chap Yap drew them in the 90s. But,
totally agree.
But like the idea of like making it on, like in this whole issue, old man Dutch doesn't strap those things on, so it's definitely keeping you in suspense. Like, I can't wait till he slaps on those goddamn rabbit ears.
Well, I think this is just an extension of the stuff that I believe was Joe Casey did with like Glory, and Brandon Peterson did with Prophet. Right. They I don't want to say update, but they continue these. Well, with Prophet, it was definitely an update.
It was Joe Keating and Sophie Campbell.
Campbell,
right?
Yeah.
And it was Brandon Graham with Prophet, and a host of others. And I think maybe Simon Game is one of those guys, possibly.
I got nothing but love for Dutch and the whole Youngblood thing, and I'm totally in the dark on the Liefeld sale thing. Like, to whom did he sell these and when?
I'm not sure what how it went down either necessarily, but I do think it was like they were sort of leveraged. Like he had used them as leverage in order to fund like one of these publishing, whether it was Awesome or Arcade, one of these things.
Really?
And then just did it was a matter of just having to make payments to get them back, and he just didn't. I don't know what happened, but I know that now this other lunatic ended up with them, and it's somebody that for a while they were making noise like they were gonna make new Youngblood comics. And I can't imagine somebody I'd want mad at me less than I'd want Rob Liefeld mad at me. That guy is vengeful.
Yeah. I actually don't want new Youngblood comics. I would like to have archive editions of the old stuff. Yeah. In chronological order as they came out. Team Youngblood #1 was 93.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So year 2.
I mean, yeah, you can get the stuff for, $1.
Yeah.
Per issue, but still, just to have a nice thick ass volume, you could just, grab anytime and read them. Again, there's a huge chamber of my heart that's reserved for Liefeld stuff.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I went through a period of transition when I loved it when it was coming out. And then I bought into the Comics Journal derision, and it's like, oh, that stuff is crap. But then as I aged, I looked at it with more experienced, more weathered eyes, and I saw it's just pure joy on the page.
Yeah, it's excitement, it's energy.
It's big. And I don't care anybody takes issue with it, whatever. Liefeld is definitely the Kirby of the Image guys. Like, he was just cranking out new characters like crazy. And yes, a lot of them were carbon copies, but he had that energy that Jack had, that enthusiasm. Just like, what if? Let's do this. And just
and it was about synthesizing the same way that Kirby did, where he would just be like, all right, let's take this from Planet of the Apes and take this from, Star Wars. Like, Liefeld was doing that same stuff, like with Dutch, like with that headset,
Yeah.
He didn't invent that sort of tech, but when he got that bug, all of a sudden his shit started to go crazy, Like when he saw that Appleseed stuff, all of a sudden, Shaft has got these big hydraulic boots on,
Yep.
Yeah.
And how many feral characters were there? There was I think there was scores of Wild Child clones and Sabretooth clones, and so what?
Yeah.
It was fun.
Terrible.
And these days, if I ever got a book that had 2 or 3 double page spreads in a row, I'd be like, oh geez, man, they're milking it. But back then, it was like, God damn, this is awesome. These guys are huge. Look at it. It was a different time. And again, the Wayback Machine, the tank, rarely stays full. So,
what's crazy is he said, I heard him say, I don't know if it was on his podcast or somewhere, but he said, I had done Youngblood and I could really, I was stretching and just doing the Image thing where I had the freedom to do whatever I want, and I wanted to do a book that was all splash pages, so I did Youngblood Strike File. Yeah. And I have read that book 1,000 times, and it never occurred to me that they were all splash pages, just because there were so many splash pages back then that it was just like, what's the difference? If we're talking about 5 splash pages an issue or 10, but then that made me want to go back and look at it again and take it in as a all splash page artifact.
Yeah, I cherish those damn books. I really do.
I do too. I agree. I would love for there to be a nice collection of them. I have the Alan Moore Supreme bound, and I have the second Youngblood volume set up and ready to get bound whenever I get around to sending stuff off to the binder place again, because I love that Roger Cruz run.
Yeah, brother. Some of those Alan Moore Supremes, if you can find them, go for really good money.
Expensive? Well, I've pierced mine with thread and put them into a hardcover. So.
Well, that's okay. I mean, the goal wasn't to turn them around. It was to keep them so you can keep reading them. Yeah. I don't have that whole run. I wish I did.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. This is true. But they definitely learned something from the Star Trek dry dock sequence in the first motion picture, because there are in Liefeld's books alone, there was a fascination with technology.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's my new gun. It's a Mark whatever, blah, 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 blah. And you see this massive gun, and the majority of the double page splash is taken up by the gun. It's like,
yeah, awesome.
This is heaven. But you know what? Again, to just not to kick that dead horse, but Kirby's anatomy wasn't sound. Let's just say Jack would trim and mold anatomy as he saw fit to get the energy or the effect that he was looking for. Liefeld's the same way, so he can't draw feet. Yes,
and he can also draw feet. That's
what I'm saying. But he was the whipping boy. Like, of course, the Captain America profile was egregious. It was dumb and it was bad. But
did you see how much it sold for?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid.
But I mean, he just took liberties with anatomy, just like Jack did. I'm definitely not putting those two in the same category. But he's a wackadoodle. But I got a lot of love for Rob.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Obviously, same.
Knew it. Yes.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, Dutch Zero rules. I'm excited. I'm excited that there's another. That there's a local man, and then there's also this one, the fucking real local man that just exists with the real goddamn characters. That's great. This is great. I'm glad they made this. Very good comic book.
Well, I'll be totally honest. I love you, but I think Local Man was better than Dutch Zero. I like Dutch Zero. I thought the art was great, but and yes, it's only the first step in the journey we're about to take. But I like what you did with Local Man more.
Well, it is a way different direction we went with it. Like he's basically doing an Unforgiven, which is cool, and it works every time I see it. I love it. But we are doing something more about like the actual town and the culture and that type of stuff, and just sort of using the superhero stuff as almost like window dressing sometimes. So it is definitely a different book, but they're on Local Man Gold we did the Team Youngblood credits page, and they did the same thing on this, but on theirs you can tell they just scanned it right out of Team Youngblood because you can see like the little scanner marks. We recreated it 1,000%, but it is funny just to be like a Dante's Peak and Volcano situation where there's somebody that had the same idea at the same time that people are ready to celebrate this type of stuff.
Yeah. You're in constant contact with Tim, right? Tim Seeley?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we text.
Just between me and you, mm-hmm. I love what Tim does. That book he's got out now, The Forge of Destiny, The Masters of the Universe.
Oh, yeah. No, not for you?
I don't want a talkie Masters of the Universe book. There are dialogues that go for pages. And I'm like, Tim, what are you doing, my dude? Let's just see He-Man thrown down with Beastman. Like, just give me a fight. And it's just all this talking, and I'm like, my goodness. I still buy it. I still love Tim, but I mean, it's like it's rough getting through an issue.
My man loves to write some dialogue. There are times too where he'll have written a bunch of stuff, and then I'll want to get some stuff in there too, so I'll be making it worse. But oftentimes, because I letter our book, I sort of have this with all of my creator-owned stuff. I like to be as close as the last person to touch it as possible, just because that way I can get the final say. And so,
right.
I'll do my best to sort of like trim that sort of stuff down. When him and I both get into someplace and throw too many words in, I'll go take a pass and cut some of them out again.
Right.
So yeah, it is. It can get away from you. You'll have so much stuff that you want to put in one of these things, and there's so much room. You have so many panels on a page, and all of a sudden it just looks like a page out of the dictionary.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he absolutely adores Masters of the Universe
got a lot to say.
Yeah, sometimes doesn't work in his favor. I get it, and I love the love behind it.
Yeah,
but yeah, yeah.
He has a pretty amazing recall for those characters. I colored the cover of, might be the one that just came out. He drew a cover and I colored it for him.
Issue 3, I think.
Yeah, and he was just like, now these guys, they were only in the toys, and
yeah, isn't that nuts? Like,
yeah,
no one should know that. Why do you know that? Dap, I'm gonna be Wesley and whet your whistle. Whet your whistle. I know you didn't read it yet, so I'm not going to spoil it.
I would hope not.
But I've read the Rick and Morty manga.
I know. It's been on your list for 2 weeks.
Yes, and I
cannot wait for my fucking box to get here. But
it's so stupid. It is. It's called Rick and Morty Manga Volume 1, Getting the Robot Morty. And do you know what it is? You probably don't. It again, form follows function. It's a manga version of Rick and Morty. It was written by Alyssa M. Salah with art by J. Odin, and Crank did the letters. He's another one, but he's all over the place. So you're thinking manga. How do you translate Rick and Morty to manga? Like, what's the angle? What's the pitch? What are you doing here? It's a pastiche on Attack on Titan. And the giants are all naked Jerrys.
Oh, perfect.
And they call them giants with a J.
Oh my god.
So Rick does this giant mecha bee, and he takes great joy in outfitting this giant mech with new weapons. And Morty, of course, is the pilot of the mech. And when Morty gets pissed off, it triggers something in the mech, and he absolutely destroys these Jerrys. There are pages where he eviscerates his own father. It's so weird, but just the fact that there's giant naked Jerrys running around. Some of them are fat, some of them are real skinny, but they're all naked and they're all Jerry. And it's like, I'm reading it and I'm thinking Dap is going to shit a brick when he reads this, because it is amazing. It's not, like, if you're looking for strict adherence to the template set by the cartoon, that's not this.
Right.
They take very broad liberties with both Rick and Morty. Mm-hmm. They're manga-esque. They're exaggerated, and they're, especially Rick. But it's a glorious experience. I can't wait till you read it. I'm so glad I bought it. It's a little pricey. It's like $20 for 180 or 190 pages, but it's well worth it. I giggled like an asshole as I was reading it. Like, just the freaking naked Jerrys running around, and they say the weirdest things. Like, you got to read it.
I'm definitely gonna read it.
I don't want to spoil it, but
are we gonna? We want to talk about it when I...
Yeah. When you read it, we'll talk about it. I'm not going to get into it at all. But so it takes the conventions of manga, the giant robots, the mechs, the young boy pilots. Of course, if you've seen Attack on Titan, you know the whole premise behind that. These giants just keep pummeling, the humans in this village, and it's along the lines of that. But it does, some of the Rick and Morty mythology does weave its way through it. It's well worth it, even at cover price. I thought it was great. Yeah. I don't know when and if there's going to be another one, but this fucking thing was, it filled me with great joy.
So is it a full tankobon?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's manga sized. Yeah, it's great. But it's from Oni, so the paper is.
Is it just Oni, or it's not like they didn't partner with Viz or anybody like that?
No, I'll tell you in a second. It is just Oni. Just play Joe.
Okay.
Plays, yeah. And I thought the art was a little bit. There was a learning curve with the art. Like it took a little while to get, because Oni's stable of artists, they render the characters pretty much the way they are in the show, more or less. Like there's Tony, there's a little bit of a wiggle room, but this is the very exaggerated versions of all of our beloved characters. Yeah,
you're talking to two Rick and Morty artists right here, as a matter of fact.
I know what I'm saying.
I've got that big ass double feature right here.
Yep.
Oh, you got one of those?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, they put me and Dap's Rick and Morty comic out in a big old hardcover recently.
Silly fools.
Settle down. Yeah, I wish I
We'll
had
do
that
this soon enough.
Shh.
I know.
You can't say anything.
I'm not saying anything.
I loved it. Yes. But so when Dap gets it, we'll talk about it. Maybe, Tony, did you get a copy of this?
I didn't get a copy. I'm looking at it, though, on Amazon. It looks neat.
Yeah, it's messed up.
The Jerry's look hilarious.
And Morty frickin' swears like a sailor. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
I've had enough shit, man. This season has been Morty's about had it. And there are days where there are episodes where he'll go with the flow. It's like whatever, Grandpa's working on his shit. And then there are episodes where he's just like, I'm tired of this. Look, everybody. It's like he's a total team, man. It's just like he's got these mood swings. It's insane. But this season has just been bananas, because they've done a lot where it's not all. They're not all done in ones. A lot of what they're doing in the episodes this season, they're all like kind of callbacks, or just not even Easter eggs, but they're just reminding the viewers what may have happened like 2 or 3 seasons ago, and just like as if normal people having normal conversations. Like if we talked about somebody we saw at a convention, like at New York Comic Con, like in 2018, and that just would cause a whole different type of conversation. Just that's what they're kind of doing here. Although last week was very similar to a clip show, but a lot of it was all new, never before seen. But there were a couple of clips that were from past cartoons. But it's been an extremely entertaining season this time around.
Do you know I have the first season on Blu-ray?
You did tell me that.
Yeah, and Tony knows the story. I'm sure. I just couldn't get into it.
Didn't care about it.
No, and then all of a sudden a switch was flipped, and now I can't get enough of it. And it's like, how my hard line against $4.99 books. I don't include Rick and Morty in that position. I will pay $5 an issue for Rick and Morty. Issue 11 came out today.
I did.
BT Dubs, yeah.
Yep.
That's going to make a great collected edition. All 12 issues of that.
Yeah.
Because it's
a cool story.
Yeah, it's thematically linked. Every arc played into the next, and it was just great stuff. So there you go.
Just real quick, because it's not my In Your Travels, because I just figured, what the hell? I'll give it a shot, because hey, what's the worst that can happen? And I not enjoy this, and I just wasted 5 minutes of my life. But I appreciate stories that'll come out from the big two where they're not like tied down to the whole overarching events of the universe. Not everything is so neatly tied together, or they're kind of like, or they'll just do a story based on something that happened years ago, back when a certain character was dressed in a ridiculous costume. So they What pissed me off.
I know what you read.
about Daredevil Black Armor #1.
Stop! No.
So obviously it's the credits page just has the typical origin story when Matt Murdock was a kid, lost his sight, blah blah blah. He is Daredevil. After Matt's red suit was destroyed in battle, Matt donned an armored costume to better protect him in his quest to protect Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil Black Armor, written by D.G. Chichester. Welcome back. Netho Diaz is your penciler. J.P. Mayer, shout out to Ryan, is your inker. Andrew Dalhouse on colors. And what bothered me about this is that unless you were reading Daredevil at that time, when during Chichester's run and when the armor was around and McDaniel was drawing it, you know the context, you know what's going on here. But if you weren't reading that, if you're newer to Daredevil than something from the past 20 years, or you just saw #1 and figured, what the hell, you are even keeping it separate than what's going on in the current ongoing drawn by Aaron. I just would love for them to say, hey, these events take place during this, like read this epic collection to get the full story, or just something that would point you in the right direction. They don't even. You've just got Matt handing the armor over to Melvin, the gladiator. Melvin Potter, of course, is the guy who makes all the costumes. He's just this dude in a hoodie drops off the armor, saying, make this better, fix this, and then there's a double page spread where Matt's kind of just talking about recent events, fighting Silver Sable and Morbius and Venom.
Doesn't look bad though.
Electra with no. Diaz's art is pretty funky. It's fitting for the era, I'll say.
Yeah.
But he's in his Jack Batlin alter ego because Daredevil and Matt Murdock, they're not around. Or at least actually Jack has to do things that Matt can't do. So he's playing con man. But we just. There's a lot. It's a very talky issue. There's a lot of everything going on in Matt's head and what he's talking about. He swings by Karen Page's window. He watches Elektra, who of course is donned in white and has no hair this time. He's watching her from afar. Sabretooth shows up. There's some human trafficking going on. And then here's you see. You see this dude talking to a Mr. Fisk, bringing him this car that seems to be all armored and decked out. It's like it's a ride fit for a king, and that's when Daredevil shows up and has a conversation with Fisk. Even says something like, you could. You're a real man of the people, Wilson. You should run for office. And he's like, "Oh, Mayor Fisk. I like the sound of that." It's not a foreshadowing, but. Like you don't, Kingpin is just walking around like a normal schmo, and you just like there's no way anybody's going to. I don't need to be spoon fed. I'm just thinking about giving the readers just a little bit of information that they could take and run with it, and it'll help. Everybody, it'll help Marvel probably maybe sell a couple more books because they'll want to find out what the hell this is about, and it'll help the readers understand what's going on without reading the first issue and just going, well, I'm done because this makes no sense. It doesn't. There's nothing here that tells you that this is supposed to be a story from years ago. It's just it's as if. It's another just regular, almost as if it's running concurrently with the current Daredevil story, and that's not making a bigger deal out of this than it is. But it's just it little things that are just it's not even fixable because it's not even a real problem. It's just something you could absolutely avoid by just saying, hey, this story. It's just like X-Men '89 or anything like that from the cartoons. It's like it's a specific era that they're trying to recapture, and they're obviously doing that here. but they're just not doing themselves any favors by keeping it so contained. It's almost like, why even bother doing this, or save it for a Marvel fanfare revival and just shove the story in that. I just it bothers me, and also there's the big bad at the end is just kind of weird, and I don't know if Daredevil has ever faced Baron Strucker, or if Baron Strucker ever decided to stop by Hell's Kitchen and fuck things up.
It's like, why? Yeah.
That's who this is, and it's issue number 2. It looks like Daredevil's going to take on Sabretooth again and Hobgoblin. So it's fine if you want to revisit the era. Then this is definitely for you. But if you have no idea why he'd be wearing black armor, or where it came from, or why Matt is acting this way, good luck, and maybe the Marvel app will tell you. I don't know. It's silly when I see things like this. These are very easy things to do to help everybody with, and they're just like, no, we're just gonna. They're not even trying. It's like, yeah, we paid Chichester for this story. We paid the artist's page rate. We're gonna put it out, and it's like a loss leader, I guess. I don't know. It's just weird.
I'm not intentionally disagreeing with you, but I think anyone that would pick up a book called Daredevil Black Costume, he wore that costume in a very narrow window.
Yes.
Of his history. So this book speaks to those that were reading the book.
So those 2,000 people are going to enjoy
that. Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I haven't read it, but what it evokes to me is, like, if I'm in charge of this book, I would have called it Daredevil Black, just like Daredevil Yellow, and have it be sort of like a nostalgic, rose-colored glasses, sort of like distillation of that storyline, the same way they did with Daredevil Yellow. And then you leave the door open for like a Daredevil Red, which is sort of like, you pick any, any part of the Daredevil history and do the Red story.
You probably put far more thought into it in that 10 seconds it took you to say that than they did putting this book out.
There's a page where Matt's thinking about his dad, who, instead of staying a boxer, the gym wants him to be a trainer, because it's a steady paycheck and you're not going to get your head beat up. And so while Jack is coaching this young boxer, you see Matt in the background also mimicking Dad's moves at the same time. But then you now cut to present day, and Matt is basically kind of just shuffling down the sidewalk, shadowboxing, throwing punches. And this dude in a mohawk says, "Check this out! Check this freak!" Thinks he's a one-man UFC. UFC wasn't around when the fucking stuff. It's just, I see things and I scream. I so wanted to give it a shot. I'm like, listen, it's a man with heightened senses, super sensitive to sight, to sounds, and everything around him, and he's going to wear some creaky ass clunky armor. That makes the perfect sense. So I'm trying to give this the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give it a shot and to see, like, listen, where we're going. And I read this and I was just like, fuck, I'm so disappointed. But that's not my Indie Travels, because I can't. It can't be. I wanted to like it. It because it's Chichester. I want to give him a shot.
Yeah, well, you gave him a shot.
I did. Silly me.
The black costume is, what was it called? Black armor?
Yeah.
It's just clunky.
It's black armor. He's got these shoulder pads and the knee pads, and it's like,
they just had a Silver Surfer Black. Just call it Daredevil Black.
I think he made it from the Venetian blinds in Kingpin's, office.
Yeah. But
while we're on the subject of Marvel and distaste with Marvel, Dapple, back me up on this. I, against my better judgment, because I do like the storyline, I do like what this writer did with this character, read Superior Spider-Man #1.
Oh. Yes, so did I. Yeah.
And I just got to say, Dan Slott
boys,
did you get hit in the head and you forgot everything about Spider-Man? and Peter Parker, specifically everything you wrote about these characters in the past, because I don't care about Spider-Boy. I don't give a damn. But the gist of it is Spider-Man's being attacked by Supernova. And if you read Superior Zero, you know who Supernova is. She's incredibly powerful. And she's blasting the shit out of Spider-Man. And Doc Ock's watching the whole time. And she's really tough. She's a formidable foe. And towards the end of the issue, Peter's just like, okay, I know how to do this. Spider-Man's going to take a break. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. That's Peter's solution? He's going to take a break? He can't beat this Supernova, so he's just going to hide? He's just going to go away? That is the most un-Peter Parker solution to a problem ever. And I'm thinking, Dan, you okay? Is everything all right? I will say that I'm not the biggest Bagley fan in the world. Well, I was at one point when Icenove was embellishing over him. I thought it was great. But this inker, John Dell, does Bagley a huge solid, because Bagley hasn't looked this good in a long time, to my eyes. You back me up on that, Dap?
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, the issue was fun, and it was nice to see Slott doing what Slott does. But if Slott's going to just start reconfiguring the DNA of characters we've known for 40, 50 years, then I'm out. Because there's no way in hell that Peter Parker would just be like, okay, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to take a back seat. Spider-Man's going to go away, and then hopefully the Supernova will get tired of looking for me, and she'll just go away. That's not the Parker solution, and it bugged me. So, I don't want to be that type of fan that picks nits, but when you do something that is so horribly out of character, it just squashes any kind of enjoyment I would have in the book, because this is not Peter Parker. I don't know who this guy is. This is a quitter. Yeah. And then even to make matters worse, Ock has these little spider bots that he used to use when he was Superior Spider-Man, and they're surveilling Peter. And Peter's like, whoa, wait a minute. My spider sense is going off like a freaking jackhammer. What's going on? Oh well, it's nothing. And there's a spider bot in the background. Like,
all these years,
are you dumb?
Goes off, and I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to chalk it up to this woman trying to kill me, and not actually look around.
It doesn't make
something else may be causing this danger.
It makes no sense. It's so dumb. So dumb.
And then we got a neat little, Nate Stockman drawn backup with Mr. Negative, who I haven't seen in a minute, but all that did was just also add more Spider-Boy to the story. But
yeah, and I just don't care.
I don't. I have no idea what the character is. It's like, I'm going to take my mask off and show Peter. It's like, bro, and then you're in Times Square.
The takeaway from this issue was that Otto remembers everything. Yes. That's cool.
I mean, it's coming in drips and drabs, because it wasn't until the bots came back and reconnected that he realized that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person.
Right.
But yeah, and in the return, the one shot leading up to this series, he was also slowly remembering things here and there, like why I had this little prison made here. What could be inside? Oh, I'll open it. Oh, look, it's the one associate I had who thought she was better than me, only because in Otto's delusion that's how he treated that interaction. But
yeah.
I had high hopes for the return. Had Spider-Boy appeared in that one shot, I probably wouldn't have added the series to my pull list. This would have given me an idea
Hell
that
no.
we probably would have gotten more of him. But now that he's here, I might give it another issue or two. But I don't know if I'll.
It's just too many spiders.
Yeah.
Again, they've lost track of they took their eye off the target. Like, Peter is not special anymore.
Nope.
Because there's so many of these creeps running around. I reluctantly tried 2099 Spider-Man, loved it, so that's all right. But it was in the future, so it wasn't really an infringement on I don't even like to say Spider-Verse, but the Spider-Man mythology. But now that there's just so many of them, I just can't. It's just too many. Yeah, he's not unique anymore. He's just another spider. Oh, okay, so he's the spider. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It's the same problem DC has with Batman. There's too many Bat characters running around. It dilutes the strain. There's nothing really unique or special about it. Like, Peter Parker is the template. He should. If you gave me editorial control, I would just raise the entire Spider-Verse. Just Peter, and then 2099, and you got to keep Miles Morales because he's a cash cow. That's it. And I would even get rid of Gwen. It's just too much.
You're crazy out of your mind.
No, I know I'm out of my mind, because they would never do that.
Years is those movies, and those movies, they're in the middle of them. We don't even know what's going to happen with that spider.
Sure, I get it. I mean, these things make money, but there's no like the original thrust is not sacred anymore. It's like, hey, guess what?
We're far from the source at this point, right?
Sure.
I mean, even Slott, who was sort of like the keeper of the spirit of Spider-Man, he's been writing it for like 20 years now, right? Like,
yes.
Plus.
Yeah.
So I do feel like they're trying to figure out what what Spider-Man looks like going forward, what the new stuff is, but I don't feel like they have a take yet.
I don't think they do either.
But
I love the fact that
take swings. You're sounding a little Niesman-y with this Spider-Boy slander.
Maybe that's okay. That's all right. I'm old and crotchety.
That's true.
There's nothing that attracts me at all to Spider-Boy. I don't care at all. It's not a novel twist. It's just another character in a spider suit. That's young. Wow, that's great. Whatever. Yeah. Let's see geriatric Spider-Man. Like, what about that? Whatever.
Hopefully, by the time I get to geriatric, there will be a geriatric Spider-Man for me to read, and then
I'm sure there will. But I think it's really.
Write it.
It's just like his little web shooter just dribbles after he's.
So we already got that with Spider-Man Rain.
Oh, nice, Peter's pee-pee.
Yeah, Peter's Peter.
It's cool that Otto is at the nexus of this, and because I think, aside from Norman, Otto is the archenemy.
Yeah, and even if you didn't think that, Slott made you a believer.
Exactly.
With over those 100 issues, it was insane.
But the portrayal of Otto was so nuanced. It was yes, even this total megalomaniac scumbag can have feelings and sometimes do the right thing. Yes, it was more or less done to continue the charade, but he did the right thing on a number of occasions, and he enjoyed it. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it takes things that are special and it just smashes them. I'm not a fan of that. But I know
there's like a time limit on how long something's going to work for you too, right?
True.
Like that's how long somebody can keep doing a thing and how long it's going to work. And, I'm sure there will be Spider-Man stories that work for you again at some point, but
I'm hoping.
It does seem like there has to be, at a certain point you've read so many different combinations of Spider-Man stories that it's just like, what's going to turn your crank?
I was looking at my CLZ as I was inputting books, and I have over 600 issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. and it's one of those books. Like if I fell on hard times and had to start selling books, Amazing and Fantastic Four would be the two series that would last. I would never, unless I had nothing to eat, didn't have a roof over my head, I would never get rid of Amazing or Fantastic Four. Those books are just so beloved to me.
Yeah.
I grew up with Peter Parker. He was my dude.
What do you think about this Hickman Ultimate Spider-Man where he's a dad?
Nope.
No.
We already got the Parkers Renew Your Vows, whatever the hell that was. That this is silly.
And we even got M2.
I saw the preview pages for it, and I'm like, and I love Chichester, Marco. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Marco, but I was looking through the preview pages, and then in the email that Marvel sent this afternoon, and the little trailer, which is just the moving images. But I'm like, I see Ultimate Universe or Ultimate Spider-Man, and I'm like, okay, well, Peter died, so is this? I don't know, but all of this, it's like, according to the press release, I guess this Ultimate line is just, well, not that it never was, but it's like reimaged or reimagined versions of your favorite heroes. And it's like, how is me seeing Peter Parker married to MJ of all people and with kids
of all people,
the version of Spider-Man that I've been hankering for?
But it did work in the M2 line. With
May, yes, with
May,
Spider-Girl,
yeah,
absolutely.
That series was great.
That was just May, and that was the Avengers Next, and that was cool. The A2, whatever the hell it was called. I dug that a lot. But I feel
like with Spider-Man, you guys are a lot more, you take it a lot more personally. You're more
brutal.
First.
Yeah.
Spider-Man and Superman, yes.
100%.
Because I'm like, well, Hickman's good. I'll give it a look. But my take on it is just like, I guess that Fantastic Four had a lot of family and heart in it. But like, when you tell me Hickman and then you say it's a book about him being a dad, I'm just like, I guess Hickman's probably a dad, so maybe he's got something to say about that. But I don't think like heartwarming superhero stories when I think Hickman. So
no.
It'd be interesting to see if that's something that's been.
I'm sure it'll do as well as God's.
And it looks like Peter's like still working at the Daily Bugle or something, like because all the images I saw were Jonah yelling at him. So I'm like, why isn't he a teacher? Why isn't he?
I would love to be the ghost of comics future and come to Hickman in a dream and take him through, just like the classic story, take him through comics. And it's like, it's okay to feel things. It really is. You can cry and you can, but it just seems like the human element is missing from a lot of Hickman stuff. God's was a soulless debacle.
I wonder if Spider-Man's going to be $10 too.
Whatever. I won't buy it.
I don't know.
Nope.
I'll buy it. I always buy this shit.
I'm not buying it. Whatever. So yes, this is the old fart section of the show. But I don't have any sacred cows. Well, many, but Peter's the closest thing at Marvel that I have to a sacred cow. You just don't mess with him. The character was perfect to begin with. And
yeah, but you have to. That's part of storytelling, is you have to mess with him.
Is it though?
In order so you can overcome things, yeah.
Yeah, sure, put him in compromising situations. That's great, but to just go against the blueprint and say, I'm just gonna take a break. I'm gonna go away. This will die down, and then I'll just continue with my life. That is not Peter Parker. It's just dumb, stupid. But whatever. All right, everybody. Hey, thank you for being here with us once again. We hope you come back next time. In the meantime, go to our sponsor. And who is that? CheapGraphicNovels.com. CheapGraphicNovels.com. Trade paperbacks, omnibus editions, OGNs, manga, everything you want. That's why you're here. It's what you do. You buy things. And why should you pay full price for them? Well, you don't have to. All you got to do is go over to CheapGraphicNovels.com. You get things at a drastic, massive discount. And after you place your first order, you'll get an email message. Reply to the email message saying 11 o'clock comics sent me, and Max will wave his magic wand, bing, and you will get free shipping on your next order. What could be more simple?
I can't even imagine.
I got nothing. And
discount code would be more simple if you guys could fucking work that out. This crazy email scheme that you have running. What's he doing? Why doesn't he have just a discount code? Every podcast I listen to, they say enter 11 when you order.
Well, why don't you talk?
11 o'clock.
Why don't you talk to Max about that?
I'm talking to him right now. He listens to the show. Max, just get a discount code. Free shipping. You can set it up on.
I think that would be easier to track also.
Yes.
Than trying to collect emails going up.
Nah, I mean my man's got a lot of balls in the air, and
for sure
he knows what's what. Like, I mean, yeah,
he does keep track. He's very.
No, I'm not right. I am not. I'm not trying to presume. I don't want to.
Just imagine this: if you're reading the ad though, next time, and you went enter discode 11 o'clock for free shipping on your first order. How smooth that would sound.
Why don't you talk to him about that?
I'm talking to him right now, Max. Listen, talk to your developer. Discount code seems like it's got to be in like HTML 101. Everybody's got it. Factor has it.
Don't assume.
Tommy John has it. What are other podcasts?
What are you talking about?
What's the greens that you have when you make them in the morning?
I don't know.
You act like you don't listen to podcasts.
No, not comics podcasts. Yeah. No, I listen to other. I've been listening to a lot lately, but not comics podcasts.
Well, these aren't comics podcasts. What's the fucking greens?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a mix. It has essential nutrients in it. You mix it up.
Kale?
Well, I'm sure kale's in the mix. It's just like a. It's like a.
Oh, you mean?
But with greens.
Daily Harvest or some shit.
I don't know. Whatever. CheapGraphicNovels.com. And there you go. And do us a, I'm so lost. Do us a solid and go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. What do you get when you become a patron? Well, I'll tell you. You get audio up to like 4, 5, 6 hours of bonus audio every month that nobody else hears. It's not on the feed. It's only for the patrons. You get pages every day. You get downloads of vintage fanzines every day. You get covers of classic comics every day. You can weigh in on the book of the month, which is coming up real soon. But, B-U-T, the best thing about being a patron is you get access to the dedicated Slack channel. There's a thread going on now that is borderline uncomfortable for me. Because everybody is just revealing all of these deep inner thoughts. And I'm just like, I can't do that. For many reasons, I can't do that. But I'm trying. But it's giving me a deeper insight into the family that is the extended 11 o'clock.
What's the theme of this thread? It's personal.
It's an AMA thread for everyone in the Slack. You're asking a question that everybody who wants to answer can answer. Other people can ask questions, but it's just a running thread of people asking and answering questions.
Yeah, it's like, Ray, do you fold or crumple toilet paper?
Actually, no, he didn't even say toilet paper.
I know, that's what I was like, what are you talking about? I just crumple things when I throw
I love it. I joked with him and I said, I thought you were talking about fitted bed sheets because those are fucking impossible to fold.
You don't fold fitted bed sheets. There's no way.
You can. You do. It's like a triangle fold at first. And
it
works out.
Too much work.
It's a piece of cake.
Too much work.
It's real easy once you get a hang of it.
But anyway.
It's like taking off your T-shirt and like
it's Tony, it's like, what's some of your biggest regrets? Like things like that. Like
how many people have you said, I love you?
Right. Like,
man.
I was like,
too real for you. You got a little.
Have you ever touched tips? Questions like that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Not yet. You didn't.
But it's a lot of fun. But the point being that we're all very good friends on this Slack channel, and you can be a very good friend too. There's a slight learning curve to the Slack, but once you get your feet wet, everybody welcomes you with open arms. And we just have a great time every day talking about a whole bunch of stuff, not the least of which is comics. So yay. In Your Travels. I am doing this book a great disservice by making it my In Your Travels. But c'est la vie. It is another story in the extended universe, or the expanded universe, for Jodorowsky and Mobius's Inkle. This one is called Kill Wolfhead, written by Brandon Thomas and illustrated by Pete Woods. And I bet you're thinking, Pete Woods? The guy that drew Superman way back when? Yes, that Pete Woods. But my man must be on aesthetic steroids, because he has transformed into a mega beast.
We did the Inkle too, right?
He did the last chapter in the Metabaron second cycle.
Right.
But Pete, if you're listening, I don't know what you're eating, or you're exercising, or what kind of meditation you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because your style is absolutely unbelievably gorgeous. Like, there are pages in this thing you will stare at, I don't even know how long, because they're that gorgeous. You guys, I know David hasn't read the Inkle. Have you read the Inkle, Tony?
No, I have read it by looking and poring over the artwork, but I have not read the words.
Well, Kill is he's a very crucial part of the original Inkle, but who's Kill Wolfhead? Well, he's an adventurer, he's a hero, he's an entrepreneur, he's also the world's greatest lover. Or should I say the universe's greatest lover, because Kill has sired countless children over his lifespan. So many children that he's lost track. And in this book, someone, I don't want to spoil it, riddles Kill with high-powered bullets. Like, just totally decimates him. So he's on life support, and his children come to traipse through his psychospace. They enter into his brain. Why? To get the keys. They assume that Kill has amassed a massive fortune over the course of his adventuring, and they want to unlock those keys to get the goods. And his daughter, Annabelle, leads the charge. But this book is ridiculously inventive. It keeps you on your toes. It's a mind blower for sure. That again, I don't want to say too much about it, because there's a lot to spoil. But put it this way: he has a daughter named Frey who is lured into a situation where her car enters a haunted avenue, where if you die in a car crash on this avenue during a very, very specific and very limited period of time, you'll instantly come back as a ghost. Someone manipulates her into dying during said time, and she comes back as a ghost. She goes through the majority of the book as a spirit. Kill is so adept at the art of love that he even got a robot pregnant. Figure that out. He has a robot son named Lucius. All of his children want to kill him because he abandoned their mothers and them, and so they all got a grudge against Kill. And it's a mystery, but there are sections of this story that break the fourth wall. There's a lot of instances of a character falling. I won't say much more about that, but during the falls, there are characters that speak directly to the reader and the author. Like, really? You're showing another character falling? Like, we saw this like 10 pages back. So in a way, there's a Deadpool fourth wall breaking edge to part of the book. It's not rampant. It's like I said, it happens infrequently, but when it happens, it's a whole lot of fun. But Pete Woods' art, oh my God, it is just masterful. The level of detail is disturbing. Like he'll, in those pages I talked about where a character is falling or plummeting, the depth that he ekes out of his architecture is just ridiculous. Like you'll see passageways spanning two buildings and characters on them. Then there's another level below that. Then there's another level below that. And you can follow all of this architecture all the way down to a central point, and it's like, dude, how long did this page take you to render? It's ridiculous. I mean, is it better than Dying Star, the book we talked about that directly preceded this book? I don't want to say better because it's not the same animal as Dying Star. It's as good as Dying Star, but it's not the same creature. This is a whodunit. There's comedic bits in it. They travel into the belly of a beast where the environment is hydrochloric acid, so they have to wear protective suits. It's just like they get shit out by the beast. It's crazy. Yeah, there are reveals in here that'll make you, if you're paying attention, that'll make you just like, whoa, I did not see that coming. Kill gets hit in the face by a massive dick more than once. Yeah, it is. They entice him into a situation because he's not one to say no to the carnal escapades, obviously, because he has so many children. But yeah, it's alternately you'll find things that will amuse you greatly in this book. You'll find things that will disturb you and borderline break your heart. It's just a wonderful book. So from Humanoids, Kill Wolfhead by Brandon Thomas and Pete Woods. Run out to your local or online, wherever, and get this. It's $24.99. It's the same form factor as Dying Star and Psychoverse and the ones that preceded it. But if you're a fan of the Inkle, you need this. If you haven't read the Inkle, you don't have to. This is a completely self-contained book. Everything you need to know, really smart, is included in this book. So I'm guessing if you haven't read the Inkle and you read this, you'll be like, okay, I need to read more of this. So get it. Kill Wolfhead. It's masterful.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess it's sort of kind of a Josh Williamson-Rama, because I read the third issue of Batman and Robin, which is illustrated by Simone DeMeo. And it's a continuation of the story from the first issue where Batman was poisoned and was attacked by bats. The Batman and Robin are still chasing after the White Rabbit, but they split up because Robin is actually doing the thinking here. Robin is going to go after the White Rabbit because actually Bruce is still telling Damian, he wants him to go to school, and Damian's still like, listen, I was made fun of, bullied by jocks, met the cold principal and the mousy teacher. He figures, listen, I got the full high school experience, but Damian's just like, listen, until you can give me a good reason I should attend, I'm not going. So he tells Batman that Batman should go after Shush, who is a woman who is dressed up like Hush, complete with the whole bandages. So Batman goes after Shush and White Rabbit. Robin is going to track the terrible trio they'll probably lead Robin to the doctor's lair, the doctor who will have the antidote that will hopefully cure Batman. So it's really well done. A lot of action, a lot of explosions in this issue. Beautifully illustrated. Yeah, I'm enjoying Batman and Robin. The last page of the third issue puts Robin in trouble, or however much trouble Robin could ever be in. But basically, Man-Bat's got him yoked up, and it isn't too worried about anything that Robin might have up his sleeve. But we'll see where we go from here, and hopefully Batman gets cured. I'd hate to think what would happen if he doesn't, and I just want to keep getting a really nice, good-looking book like this. So, in your travels, if you haven't checked it out yet, by all means, by Williamson and Tomeu, Batman and Robin.
Nice. Love a Josh Williamson. That's my guy. In your travels, I wanted to bring this up earlier when we were talking Dutch and Local Man. Local Man number 8 FOCs on Monday, and it's the craziest issue of this book that we've ever done. I'm so proud of it. It's fucking cool. But number 7 comes out next week, and Vince, this one is for you. Like, this is specifically a Vince B comic. We really earned our mature rating on this one, so much so that it had to be printed at a whole different printer.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't even tell us. They were just like, oh yeah, we had to print that in Canada.
That's some Vortex shit.
It wasn't even, United States of America wouldn't even have us. So for those keeping track, you can look at the bottom of the indicia where it usually says printed in the USA. It says printed in Canada. But yeah, these next 2 issues are wild. And they're sort of, they make me really appreciative of doing comics at Image, and they just let you fucking do whatever, when we sure did this time around.
Before you move on, like,
Yep.
I enjoy having you around, but if I didn't really love the books, you'd be able to hear it in my voice, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
But for real, I'm no BS. Local Man is freaking awesome.
Well,
and it's like, I know the guy who wrote this. I know both of the guys who wrote this.
Yeah.
And drew this. And it's like, it's crazy. And I never thought, just hear me out. I never thought that name dropping Tony Fleecs at the local comic shop would get me some cred. But apparently it does, because when you texted me today and you're like, 6:00, right? I was at the comic shop and I was like, this fucking Tony, like, he knows when we record, and and the owner's just like, Tony. I said, Tony Fleecs. He goes, oh yeah, you know Tony. I'm like, yeah, I know Tony. And so it was like, it was a thing that you were at the center of, and I was like, I'm doing the Tim and Eric where my head's exploding. With like, Tony Fleecs has gave me some credibility. But I don't want to use you in any way. But I'm just saying that the fallout from what you're doing with Local Man and other books is felt in these shops.
Cool.
So that should, yeah. I mean, I love you.
That makes my head want to explode.
It should.
And the head of my penis. But for real, I'm very excited for you to read this number 7. It comes out next week. It is a specifically Vince B issue. Nice. And then number 8 is, like I said, you'll hear me hyping up number 8 when it gets closer to coming out. FOC is on Monday, but it is fucking crazy, and I'm so excited. Like, it was I had an idea to do a weird thing, and then I pitched it to Tim, and he was like, "Oh, we sort of like got down on it and figured out how to make it work." And then it worked out exactly how I wanted it to work. And it's a thing that only works in print. We have it set up so that for the Comixology too, but like, it's so cool in print. I'm so excited about it. So that's Local Man number 8. That's not my In Your Travels. My In Your Travels is The Punisher number 1 by David Pepos and our boy Dave Wachter. I don't know if you talked about it on the show already or not, because like I said, I missed last week. But it's a new guy. It's not Frank Castle. It's a guy that used to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and this poor guy, his family got killed as well. And like we were talking about Liefeld, they spent a lot of time in this issue talking about what cool guns do, and Dave gets to like design cool guns. And there's like rail guns and different, guns that have bullets and bullets that do different kind of things. All kinds of neat sort of Punisher, almost like those Punisher war. What was it called? Like the technical manuals, where it was just like a catalog of guns in the 90s.
Armory.
Armory,
yes.
Yeah. And also Dave gets to draw, spoilers, he gets to draw Mr. Hyde in here, and he draws a fucking brutal Mr. Hyde. Really cool. And a scene that's almost like that Bernie Krigstein subway scene, but not as good. Sorry, Dave, you're not Krigstein yet. But
I think he would agree with that.
I think so too. But you can see it there. You can see the influence. I think.
But that's like an unattainable goal. Like even if you honed your craft for X amount of decades,
yeah,
you probably still wouldn't be Krigstein.
Probably not.
No.
We can try though. I'm going to attempt it.
Right. I mean, hey, it's something to
something to strive for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this thing's great looking. Dave, a great artist who I will work with very soon.
Ooh, we know, but they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know. Hell, Dave might not even know.
Dave knows.
Dave told me that.
Dave knows this week? Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Wachter told me to go easy on you.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. The whole thing with the reveal, he's like, go easy on Tony. I'm like, no, I will never go easy on Tony.
For real. We can tell the listeners what this is about. At New York Comic Con, the boys saw Dave Wachter, and they said, what are you working on next? And he said, I'm doing a book with Tony Fleecs. And then they texted me, and they're like, why didn't you tell us? And it was because I didn't know that he had said yes to it yet. I was just hoping that he would do it. So that was how I found out.
So we were giving Tony shit for not telling us.
Yeah.
And Dave said to, lighten up on Tony. Not in the cards, my friend. Never.
Yeah, the Punisher book is awesome looking. I will pick up the rest of them because I like a Dave, and I'm excited to see what he draws this new Punisher punishing next month.
Yeah, he did a really great job on that issue.
Yeah, and I like that he draws his own sound effects.
Oh yeah,
really, he's like a bespoke, holistic comic artist. It all, it all looks like it's made by the same pen.
That word makes me laugh. Bespoke.
Bespoke.
It does. It seems like it shouldn't be a word. Like it's like a made up thing.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for being here with us again. We hope you come back next time. Get yourself to a comic book shop. Buy some comics, talk about them, come on our Facebook page or Instagram thing, or better yet, become a patron. Then you can talk comics all the time in our dedicated Slack channel.
Patrons.
Yes, patrons. In the patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. In the meantime, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. What are you thankful for?
You?
Oh,
saw that coming. Jesus.
I'm thankful for David and Jason, and this weekly of a way for me to avoid the
avoidance,
crushing boredom of life. So yeah, I'm
dark.
Yeah,
dark meat.
Yeah, but no, I am thankful for those two and you.
Very nice.
I know what David's thankful for.
What?
Your wife.
Bartesian.
Your wife.
You fool.
Your wife. Your pets. The place where you live that's free of water problems.
Well, funny you should say that, because this morning there kind of wasn't. There was a water main break, and most of the downtown was without water for a couple hours.
Oh boy!
I got in my shower real quick though. I mean, I got the last of the trickles to get the soap off me, and then I was on my way to work.
I saw that. Like, so you would never go a day without taking a shower?
Oh, I go days without days. I go. I don't go days, but like I'll no, like on a if I'm not leaving the house or only walking Onyx like on a Sunday. Well, no Sundays because that's no. Yes, there may be a day during the week where my body doesn't see a shower. But
if I wake up late, I'm just like fuck it.
Yes, no, I don't know. It depends.
Man.
It depends on how late. But no, I would like to at least, wash my ass before I go to the office. That would be a nice thing.
Tony, you're talking to the guy that takes minimum hour and a half in the shower.
I mean,
it's not in the shower.
No, okay, in the bathroom, minimum hour and a half.
It's coiffed. What are you thankful for?
I'm truly thankful for the friends that I have in my life, including you two knuckleheads. But I'm just what?
Whatever.
No, I listen. I'm happy. I'm healthy. The people that are near and dear to me, for the most part, are happy and healthy. I really, it's weird. I don't take the day and list off everything I'm thankful for. I'm thankful pretty much every day for the good that's in my life and for the good that's in the lives of those I care about.
Nice. I am thankful for my aunt passed away last week. I had to go to her funeral.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's okay. But I was struck by how thankful I am for my family at that thing, because I have friends who don't have like a real extended family that they love. And I was at that thing and I just was like, this is crazy how warm and nice this is. That it's like, everybody's been through everything and nothing's been perfect the whole time, but it was just such a celebration of my Aunt Amy's life, but also just a celebration of the family and the family that she built. And the Baxter's just really snoring. But I really was struck by how thankful I am for my family at that thing. It was very nice. In dark times, you sort of get to see what you have and what you're thankful for, and I definitely saw that last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what we're thankful for. We just splayed it all out there. So come back next time. We'll be here waiting with a warm beverage and some sandwiches. In the meantime, say good night. Did you hear this damn Hall & Oat thing?
What about them?
Well,
Oates has
Daryl Hall took out a what do you call it? A protection.
Like a restraining order?
A restraining order. Yes, I don't know why I couldn't. Against Oat. Because something about I don't know a legal thing happened and Oat did something, and I was like, what kind of a world do we live in where Hall and Oat can't get along?
Man,
crazy.
I wonder what people believes. What's going on?
Seriously, David.
Turn it up right now.
Good night.
No, but I mean, you would think, like, I know that the pairings in the past haven't worked out well. Donnie and Marie, the Robinson brothers, but I hold Hall and Oat to a different standard.
Oh, I like how you say oat. That's crazy.
It's nuts.
Restraining order.
I heard it and I was like, oh man, not Oat.
Sweet.
It's not Oat.
I've always said Hall and Oat. I've never ever said his name right. It just sounds better when you say Hall and Oat.
The Halls and the Oats.
The Bill Hader, the documentary now where they did the Eagles thing, the Blue Jean Connection.
No.
Super good. You can buy it on iTunes, but it was originally on IFC. They did that show documentary now. They do a 2-part one where they basically do like the Eagles documentary.
This the band or the football team?
The band.
Oh.
So they do like a
You lost Mario.
They do like a parody of band documentaries and where they go through all this stuff, and Super, super good. It's
Isn't the Eagles' Greatest Hits the biggest selling album of all time?
I don't know if it still is. It's got.
I mean, it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they keep track of that stuff now. Now that there's not record sales like there used to be.
Right.
You know, like I don't know how it is. Like the new Drake album came out, and they said that he tied Michael Jackson for #1. So I was just like, what? What? That's crazy. I like Drake, but I don't. I can't imagine how that could happen.
I'm not seeing that. No, and I have no loyalty to Michael Jackson at all. But
they just count. They count. They got a different count nowadays, or like based on streams and YouTube and TikTok and
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been nice.
Yep. I wonder where Hall & Oat rank. But now I like the Eagles. I got to give the side eye to anybody who's like, oh yeah, fuck the Eagles.
Sure.
They have a lot of good songs.
Eagles,
a lot of well-crafted songs.
That guy's been litigious before. I remember when Frank Ocean came out, he had a song on his free mixtape that was a Hotel California cover.
Oh.
And it was free, so it was just like, well, he's not selling it. You can't really. But that guy was like, he was like, we're gonna put a restraining order against this.
Top 10 greatest guitar solos ever.
In that song?
Hotel California? Shit, yeah. That's up there. I know what #1 is. The greatest guitar solo of all time?
Go for it.
Second solo in Comfortably Numb.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, I will fight anybody that claims otherwise.
You know, my algorithm loves is that Prince guitar solo in When My Heart Gently Weeps.
Oh, God. And when he throws the guitar at the end and you don't know where it goes, like, what the hell? Yeah.
Somebody, I remember I read a story about the guy that ended up with that.
Yeah. You know, fentanyl's a bitch.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yep. Yeah.
Took the cranberry from us, too.
I got a whole lot of love for Prince. Master craftsman. Yep.
I haven't kept up with the vaults. Have they started unlocking the vaults?
Yeah, here and there. Yeah, we've been getting stuff.
What do you think of that Beatles song?
It's a piece of shit.
Get out of here.
It's a piece of shit.
Oh, anything that's touched by AI, Vince is just not.
No, it's fucking garbage. It's no. If I love Paul, I see him and I punch him in the face for allowing that to happen.
Don't do that. It's very old.
I know he'll die.
I don't think his face can't take much more.
No, it's
not AI AI art. Like they just use it to clean up the song.
No, it's garbage. It's garbage. It's augmented by AI. That's not the way they intended it. And anyway, it was.
Well, he didn't intend to get murdered.
No, it was a fucking piece of. It was a cast off from the vaults that they never used, and now they piece it together. Yeah, exactly. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Sorry, I have.
Look, I asked.
I know you did.
Unfiltered take.
You run anything through AI, I'm gonna fucking hate it.
That's a strong stance.
I got a kid in one of my classes who's like, AI is the greatest thing ever. I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to be a professional YouTuber. I'm like, okay. Have you seen the videos that were created like 100% from AI? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah. They just type in a couple of keywords. I'm sure it's more detailed than that. But type in a couple keywords and, oh, look, we generated a video. So, your job and the job of every artist, musician, every creative type, writer, all of that's in jeopardy because of this bullshit algorithm that pretends to be a human.
Yeah.
And the kid's just like, that dude's great. Well, okay. Yeah. We'll see in 20 years if you think it's great when you're working for freaking Cyberdyne.
When you're Miles Dyson.
Seriously. But yeah, I'm old. So, did you not expect me to have not have that opinion? Of course.
Spider Boy, thumbs down.
AI
now by the Beatles, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Not even by the Beatles.
It's not by the Beatles. It's by the Computron computer thing. You don't see Hall & Oat releasing AI shit.
You don't think that? Well, maybe that's what the restraining order's about.
Oh my god!
All right, kids.
All right. Hey, we got to thank Tony for being here with us again. And as usual, the door is always open. You were amazing because I texted you at like 5 o'clock. Hey, you want to join us tonight? You're like, shit, yeah. That was, you're like beck and call. If there was a screening somewhere, we'd be screwed though.
If there was a movie to be seen.
We'd be.
I got that text. I ran out. I bought comics. I read them. I did all my homework. I ignored my work writing Army of Darkness. I just got right into it.
You're amazing. Thank you. And we hope everybody in earshot has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Come back next time. Tell them you love them. Not the Jason way. Your way.
Love you.
That's it for that one.